Hey, everybody.
Welcome, all you lovely bastards and
You bastard children. Only bastard children.
children can listen to this podcast because everyone's a bastard.
Your parents married yet?
I don't know a single person who actually, I was a bastard.
Oh, yeah, other than yourself. Anybody else you know?
My sister.
Oh, true, yeah. Well, other than outside of your family realm, at least. Oh, shit,
I think a majority of kids are probably, like, the oldest kid is probably usually the bastard because, like, their parents, like, maybe, you know, something happened, she gets knocked up and they're like, oh, we should probably get married before we have a kid, or, like, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Was Carl a bastard, or was...
No, my parents were married, 93, I think.
Oh, they were married before Carl was born?
Oh, yeah, by, probably, 4 years,
that's surprising.
I think.
I don't know. That's just surprising to me.
93? I think so. Because my brother was born in 97.
They're just lying to you.
Yeah.
They're not even religious, so it doesn't make sense why.
We're actually married last year.
we had your brother in wedlock. Ooh.
During the ceremony.
Don't put that picture in my mind.
I will.
I'm drinking eggnog and water just constantly. Washing one down with the other. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, how has your day been?
Not bad. I've been playing a bunch of The Witcher this morning.
I saw that. You sent a snap, and I saw that it was The Witcher, and I was like, nice.
It's actually pretty... okay, so here's the thing, is I bought it on Xbox, but that was like kind of... One, my Xbox kind of runs shit right now, and so I have the PS4 Pro, so I'm like, The Witcher is definitely a game you want to experience on a nicer console, so...
it's true, but I think PC is probably like...
Okay, yeah, there's PC, but like, I'm honestly more of a console kind of guy.
Yeah,
so
I get it. Like,
just console controls.
Whenever people are like... I do think PC is probably the best overall.
Oh, yeah, like, logistically speaking, even a console gamer should be like, oh yeah, PC just tramps everything.
Well, just because you get, like, backwards compatibility in, like, so many different ways. Like, you can play games from, like, 30 years ago and it'll still work on PC.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part, is, like, because when new or, like, remastered games come out and they're, like, later games in the line, and I'm like, I just want to, like, play when it first started.
I swear to God, if the PlayStation 5... or the new, have you seen the trailer for the new Xbox?
They're coming out with a new Xbox?
Xbox Series X.
Series X?
Oh, hold on. Let me...
oh, fuck. I gotta see this.
Yeah,
man.
let me pull this up. We actually have... you can't see it because we're just doing audio right now, but...
when was it announced?
Literally like a day or two ago.
Oh, shit.
It was announced at the Game Awards, which is a topic that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So let's talk about...
something I know nothing about.
I didn't watch it either. I just saw like who won and like all the nominees. I thought that was kind of interesting to talk about.
What? Are you kidding me?
I actually like
fucking it's a Okay.
I
shouldn't complain.
All right, before we
PCs
share our opinions, let's just watch it. So let me try to find.
It's interesting.
There we go. Here's the YouTube one. 4K trailer too.
Oh shit.
With the 4K TV.
Okay, let's
perfect.
See this. Series X.
I'm gonna like turn this down so we don't get copyrighted. But I just want to say, I think it looks cool. Mm-hmm. Much better than the Xbox One, because the Xbox One kind of just looked like
the same thing over and over again.
Well, the Xbox 360 was kind of cool because it's like got that slim concave design. Mm-hmm. The Xbox One just looks like a brick, and it was huge.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize how big it was until you bought one.
The S was actually pretty small, though.
The S was a good upgrade. Yeah. The S was, like, if you're going to buy an Xbox One S all the way. Yeah. Or an X, but that's way more expensive. Yeah, but they look the same. Like, they both look great. This is also a pretty good trailer, by the way. Like, I think Xbox, I think, is nailing their, like, customer base now.
Microsoft's kind of making a comeback.
They're making a good... I like Microsoft now. I didn't care because, like, I bought a PlayStation 4, and I only bought it because I wanted to play Uncharted. That was it.
Yeah.
Also, this is not a good lineup of games, except for maybe Halo Infinite, which is probably coming out next year.
I haven't looked up. I haven't done any research on the Halo series.
Yeah, so Halo Infinite's the next game, as far as I'm aware.
So there's Halo 5, and then I know there's a Halo game in between. It was
no.
like... There wasn't?
No.
I thought there was like...
Halo 5 was the last Halo game.
Oh, okay.
There was Halo Wars 2, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But that's like a top-down. Yeah.
Damn. What?
Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about. First off, so a lot of people are making the joke. Oh, so it's basically a PC now because it just looks like one.
That's what I thought.
But one thing I want to talk about is, look at the size of the controller. We actually have a.
Oh shit! Yeah.
We have an Xbox,
that's not bad.
We have an Xbox One
so
controller
we're looking
for
at
comparison.
something like maybe this tall.
Exactly. I mean, like, it does look like a PC,
mm-hmm.
but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problems with that. I think it actually looks a lot like a new computer that recently came out.
It does look like a new and I think they might have been taking like design aspects from the 360.
Yeah, but as you can see, so it's probably about like 3 times the size of a controller. Mm-hmm. So it's like that big.
Yeah.
And probably like.
Okay, so it does look cool, but my only thing is like.
I like that. All right, it doesn't look the best.
Mm-hmm.
I think the PS4 probably looks better than this.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit chunkier than like a PS4, obviously.
Yeah.
Like even looking at the PS4, like the PS4 controller is like half the width and probably like half the length of it.
Yeah.
However, if it runs games better than the Xbox One, which is a huge issue, honestly, like you own an Xbox One, like games don't run super great. At least on the original one, it didn't run great on.
Yeah, I have an older model.
Yeah, you have the first model.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you have like the earlier model, and games didn't run great.
My only concern is that so because it's upright, the thing is a lot of people, they like to have their consoles on a shelf unit.
Right.
And because of that, kind of limits your possibilities in order for like to store it so it's out of the way.
So here's so I'm guessing that this up here is like the ventilation system. That's where the fan's
with
gonna be.
With a light in it.
Yeah. I don't know if the light may or may not be. Well, I'm sure
come on, that would
there.
be cool.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah. So I'm guessing this is the ventilation system. You guys aren't seeing this, but I'll put a graphic up or something. So this is probably like the ventilation system. Probably gonna have like the fan in there. Honestly, might be a smart idea if this is actually the fan itself and it's just an LED fan.
Mm-hmm.
Might save like some cost there if you just want to make it like glow green because it's Xbox.
Yeah.
I like the design. It's very minimalist, which I like.
Yeah, it is.
This looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the rectangle. That doesn't look great. But I think because of how it's shaped, because like look at the disk drive.
Yeah.
I think they're probably gonna allow you to like lay it on its side.
Yeah. Okay. That would make things a little bit better.
Because that would make like things just easier, I would imagine.
Yeah, if you could do like different options.
Right, and then let me show you. Oh, I just
wait. So is the PS5? Have they kind of released?
So here's what the PS5 supposedly looks like. And honestly, so this is kind of what people have been saying is gonna look like. I don't like that.
No.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but I also think it's
like way too futuristic.
Yeah, like there's too many oblong shapes to it. I guess like if it
definitely isn't like a modern design.
Okay, if it looks like that, I think the colors for the other one are really bad. If it looks a little bit more like this, that's better.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
But I still think like the concave like inside of it is kind of rough.
Here's what I think of immediately when I see it. I feel like it's not, because the way that the PS4 is designed, it's futuristic yet it looks premium.
Yeah.
This is futuristic, but it doesn't feel premium. It kind of feels like you're going back to the way like the 90s consoles look like. Again.
I think 90s consoles
like it's like
a little bit.
It's blocky yet concave. Like
yeah, I get what you're saying. So here's the thing that I like about the PS4. Like the PlayStation lineup has progressively gotten like. Okay, so it kind of like had a big shift like the PlayStation 3 where it had like that big bulge on the top and it kind of looked a bit like chunky.
Yeah.
I can pull up a picture. If this is what the PS5 looked like, that actually looks fine.
That would be sick. Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, the curve that doesn't mean,
like,
mean anything to me. That doesn't mean too.
I understand it by like an engineering design. Like if this is to like cool it down a lot more.
Oh, that would run games a lot easier.
Yeah, I understand that, but it doesn't look good. I think a big reason why people get like consoles is because they are kind of like out of the way, kind of like normal looking machines.
And they it looks premium,
Yeah, and then like this would be much better. I don't think this is. I don't know. Again, PlayStation 5 hasn't been shown yet at all.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're probably going to do that in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime in 2020 is when they're going to release it. This is supposedly what it's gonna look like. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
we definitely know that. Okay, that's good.
Oh,
Everybody has been saying the Xbox Series. It's called the Xbox Series X, by the way.
So it's gonna be a lineup of things, is it?
Probably. So one of the other things people are talking about too is that because they're doing xCloud.
Oh, okay.
Which is another streaming service, like Google Stadia and PlayStation Now.
So they're kind of setting it up for.
So one of the things that they're either this is going to be the machine for xCloud or they're going to release a separate machine for xCloud, which they actually haven't. No, they've released a console version without a disc tray in it. So they released an Xbox version, which is like slightly cheaper. That all it does is downloads.
Oh, okay.
So you can't put like a disc in it and it will play.
Oh, okay. Which is nice because like the market around digital downloads is pretty well established.
I think it's like 85% digital.
Yeah, I predominantly
physical.
download anyways now.
Yeah, I mean most of my stuff's on Steam or like I get it through Humble Bundle or something. It's just.
I meant like on console though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I try to buy a physical because
it does feel kind of like
it feels like then I at least have it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like obviously now that how things get updated, you're not gonna have like your original game if it gets updated.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, everybody's saying that the Xbox Series X looks like a refrigerator, which kind of does. Not gonna lie, I still think it looks good.
Like, also, on the whole standpoint of like streaming games from a separate point, kind of like the Google Stadia, I think like this is where maybe Sony might have a fallback because Microsoft is established well enough as an overall umbrella of services that like they would have the capabilities to have something that would match Google Stadia, but I don't know if Sony is gonna have that.
Yeah, I mean like obviously Microsoft is worth more than Sony, but Sony also does a fuck ton of other shit too.
Oh, okay.
Like Sony does plenty in the technology business. Like they make headphones, they make there was no way to beat Sony for a while because they had like they were the first ones that made like portable music players. Mm. Like they made the Walkman.
I'm kind
of
more or less referring to like how Microsoft has also invested heavily in computers.
Right.
And like they would have the computing capabilities.
I honestly thought that like I thought Google was actually gonna do Stadia, right? Stadia's been released. The consensus is that it's not good.
Oh, okay. I figured it wasn't gonna be good because it's.
I thought Google might have it because their entire thing is basically through the internet, and like you would think like they would know how like it's kind of like I don't know.
It's heavily dependent on each person. Like,
because not every even people that have good Wi-Fi said that it was lagging.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Again, initial release date. It's not It's not gonna be perfect.
It's
obviously.
not.
This is mostly just for the early adopters who just wanted to like get in and just get something because PlayStation Now is here. Yeah, it's been around for a while. I had the issues too, like where it was just a little bit laggy.
Yep.
And I didn't like that. But PlayStation Now allows you to download the games.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of having to like stream it, you can just download it.
Yeah.
Which I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Granted, PlayStation Now is $20 a month, so I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Although Google Stadia is like almost just as expensive.
I honestly, I think also more on that. I really don't buy into like buying more than one service for gaming. Like if I'm gonna buy a service for one particular company, like Microsoft and Xbox or Sony and PS4, I'm only to do the basic membership that allows me like
just
free stuff,
just what you want.
Because it's just like if you're gonna do more than one, just like I'm not gonna do it and include it in one thing.
Yeah, because like with PlayStation Now, you essentially like you can stream the games if you don't want to download it, but you can just download it.
I guess on the other angle too, though, it's like okay, if you included it in one.
The big plus side with Google Stadia, and it is a plus side, you don't just stream it through the Google Stadia thing. You can stream it through your laptop.
Yep.
You can stream it through your phone.
Yeah, it has
you can do
portability.
It through, you can't do that with PlayStation Now.
Yeah,
you can only do it through your console. So you're only gonna be able
which
to do
is
it.
Nice.
Yeah.
But the thing is like when it comes to memberships and stuff like that, I guess on the other angle, if they included all of that streaming plus having the membership all in one deal, it would obviously make it more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like, what's it now, $15 a month for PS Plus?
It's what?
It's like $15 a month, I think, for PS Plus.
Oh, yeah. I always do the yearly subscription, which is $60.
Oh, okay.
Because I know I'm gonna use it throughout the year. So
yeah, I think, yeah, if they were to do it all in one thing though, it would definitely be like more expensive.
But yeah, let me just show you one thing real quick. So here is every PlayStation over the years.
Oh yeah.
So as you can see, like it seems like a decent progression through.
But you see what I mean with like the original PlayStations though, like the roundness and also the blockiness of it. It's right. Kind of like if that design. So concept
so this was like
PS5,
this kind of looked like average console, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a disc tray and everything. Then it kind of got to like the more slim version, where it's like you just slide it in, slide it out, easy.
slide it out.
And then PlayStation 3, like the first one, look at how chunky that boy is.
Yeah.
Then they revised it, and now look at how nice that is.
Yeah.
That's also a revised version, but that's like the cheapest version by far. Yeah. This was like the version most people probably had. Yep. And then here's the PS4, which hasn't really changed that much.
Yeah. Although I do like the PS4 Pro, that definitely I think that
it looks like a PlayStation 4 just with another stack on it.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Like
But I like the triple stack. You know.
You like this shit.
I like the triple decker sandwich.
Yeah, you get some filling in there now. It's not just 2 pieces of bread. It's oh shit.
Uh-oh.
No,
you fucked it.
I didn't mean to. Yeah, look at that shit.
Yeah. PS4 Pro.
Now you get some filling versus just 2 pieces of bread.
I like it. It looks good.
I think it looks fine.
Anyway.
But yeah, so Xbox Series X.
There we go.
It's been released. I mean, not released. When is it coming out?
That's a good question.
It should say like the end here or something like that. Or not. Oh wait.
We don't fucking know.
I am
it's
just
gonna be released.
Fucking with this right now. Hold on.
Hit play.
Just shut up.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Power your dreams.
Holiday 2020. Okay, so a year from now.
Yeah.
I feel like PlayStation 5 is actually I think PlayStation 5 is coming out in 2021.
Okay.
Because if they announce it in 2020, it's gonna come out the next year.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't want to schedule your release of your console right around the other companies because it's gonna get overshadowed.
Yeah, people are gonna buy one or the other, and what you probably want is people are just gonna buy both. Yeah. Like wait a year, and then people are probably gonna be like, oh yeah,
yeah,
I'll buy a PlayStation 5 too because it has this game on it.
Yeah.
But because they are releasing a couple of games in 2020, so that's why I'm thinking they're gonna like wait till 2021 to release it. PlayStation 5. I mean 4.
Okay.
Because Ghost of Tsushima is coming out next year too.
Oh, dude, I want to fucking get the game so bad.
I know that.
Oh man.
Okay, so before we get into all of that, let's talk about one of the topics. Sorry about that. Let's talk about one of the topics that I have here.
I was just saying because I've played a bit of Nioh, and I'm like that whole like RPG Japanese
thing. Is it by the same people?
I don't know. I didn't look up that.
Hold on, let me.
But like that whole like RPG Japanese like Dark Souls fighter, like that seems kind of cool to me. And I know like probably Sekiro is gonna be a little more accurate to that, but I haven't played that. So it's on my Christmas list.
So Sucker Punch Studios is making it. They made Infamous. The Infamous games.
Yep. Pretty good. I like it. So
yeah, so Nioh is like something that's kind of similar.
It's
Sekiro
by 2K, I think, right? Yeah, Nioh is.
No, Nioh is by Team Ninja.
I think it's 2K.
Oh, Sekiro?
Wrong. Not Sekiro. I'm talking Nioh.
Nioh is by. I'm pretty sure it's Team Ninja.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah,
I must be thinking
it's published by Koei Tecmo.
Oh, okay.
2K is like fucking NBA and
oh no, they've had other games though.
No, I know, but Nioh was not published by 2K.
I think I was confused.
2K did like Borderlands 3.
Oh shit. What am I thinking? I can't remember. Anyways,
or more accurate like Gearbox, I guess. I don't know. They're the publisher. So, first thing to talk about that I had on this list. How much time do we have now? We talked a little bit about that. We got 40 minutes. We're good. We're also not just limiting ourselves to that.
That's fine.
That's just like our.
No, when it hits 40 minutes, we're fucking out. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all you get.
You can't fucking pay us to stay here longer, all right?
Unless we'll set up a Patreon and just.
No, we're not. We're not doing Patreon.
That's what all the YouTubers survive on, Garrett.
So recently, the Game Awards happened a couple days ago. Actually, let me just... When was the Game Awards? Shit. I did some research about it, but I don't remember when it was. 2019. Was it like... Was it? It happened December 12th. So Thursday night. Okay, so... For the first category... This wasn't the first category, but this is like the most important one. Game of the Year. I'll list you the nominees, and you tell me which one you think won. Because you didn't watch it all, right?
No, I haven't seen any of it.
And you don't know who you don't know who won, right?
No.
Okay, so I'll list off the...
I fucking do, actually. I'm kidding.
I'll list off the nominees, and you tell me who you think won. So we have Control.
I haven't played that, and I don't know about that.
We have Death Stranding.
Okay.
Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Okay.
Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Okay.
And The Outer Worlds.
Can you give me like a little bit of a summary around Control? Because I don't know about
Control is the game that was made by Remedy, and it's the one like where you play the redhead girl with like psychic powers. Here, I'll show you a picture. It might jog your memory.
Okay. I've probably seen it along the way.
I've played it. Or I played like a little bit of it.
Okay. I feel like it's gonna be some funky thing. Yeah, no, I haven't.
Okay, then yeah, all right.
Okay.
So you haven't heard of Control? I mean, I actually have it downloaded on the computer, so we can play it at some point.
I suppose, yeah, at some point we can.
It's. I've only played for like maybe 2 hours. It's okay so far.
Okay, so I feel like...
Again, by the way, I'm just going to say, I have not played any of these except for Control, and that's it. I've only played Control out of all these.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think here. So it was...
So I have no, like, gain into this if I actually want.
It was Control, Death Stranding, Sekiro...
Resident
Evil 2.
Smash Bros. Ultimate, and The Outer Worlds. You know what Outer Worlds is, right?
Yeah, it was... I mean, I think of... Okay. Shit. The way you gave... That smile you gave me is something that, like, it feels like it was definitely undeserved, and that's why you're bringing this up to me.
No. I don't think it's undeserved.
Oh,
I have no opinion on this, because, honestly, any of these games, except for, like, one, I'd probably say, yeah, deserved it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that means...
Just from what I know, from general consensus, I would say... All of these games could have been it, except for like one specifically. But yeah, what do you think?
Let's say Resident Evil 2.
Nope.
No? Can I get one more guess?
Yeah, you can get one more guess.
Okay. I'll go... fuck. I keep forgetting the list. The Outer Worlds?
No.
No? Okay.
It was Sekiro.
It was Sekiro, okay.
Yeah, so I think... So, Sekiro, from what I understand, was a good game this year. I just think it's interesting because the initial, like, thought was, oh, this game's really good. And then as it went on, people were like, it's a good game. Like, nobody could deny it was a good
actually,
game.
that actually holds up in the gaming world because people are very overcritical of games nowadays. And so, like, if it holds up as a decent game right off the bat, that's actually, I think, in an overall consensus... That says a lot about a game,
right?
Because
so I think Sekiro,
it makes sense that
would say it's same thing with like 2015 when they were like Witcher 3. Mm-hmm. It was like between all of the candidates, it was like the only one that could
seems like a solid choice.
It seemed like the only one that could probably compete with it was Phantom Pain.
Oh,
that was the only one that I could say like at the time could, because even
Yeah.
like Bloodborne, also Fallout 5 was on that list, which
really?
I mean, no, Fallout 4 I meant. Fallout 4 was on the list for like Game of the Year, which no, it was not Game of the Year at all.
To a newcomer,
or
I
Mario
think it would have been.
I think Mario Maker is the other one that was for 2015, which those two definitely are not like.
Yeah.
I could say maybe I would say even Bloodborne close, but not quite to like Witcher 3. It's close, but it's not quite. I think the reason why I'm saying this is because I think Sekiro won, because my personal choice probably would have been like Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, mine too.
I think.
I mean, granted, I haven't played. I've only played one of the games on that lineup. It was that one.
Right.
So
I only played Control, and Control is fine. I don't think it's. I don't think it's game of the year, but again, I haven't played it all the way through. Again, we have not played all these. I just know from general consensus.
The game that I thought was actually going to get it, and it was like some secret thing, was like Super Smash Bros. Like,
I kind of, I don't think so because it's a fighting game. Everybody loved it when it came out, but the big issue also was like it's multiplayer because like you could not play multiplayer very well.
Really?
Like online multiplayer, I should say.
I see. Okay.
Like the connection was just kind of shit, but
well, that's good to hear because I asked for the Switch and like I listed 2 games under the Switch for
Smash Bros?
Smash Bros and Link's Awakening. Those the 2 games.
Yeah.
So
we can trade games now.
Yeah,
I kind of want to play Smash Bros and Link's Awakening.
Well,
also.
I mean,
do you want Monster Hunter? Actually, no, you can't. I don't have a.
Well, and I already have Monster Hunter on PS4, so anyway, so.
No, this is like the other. It's not Monster Hunter World. It's.
Oh, it's a different one.
Yeah, okay. It's like one of the DS games ported to Switch.
Oh, I gotcha.
It's
Try
Generations.
Oh yeah. But
I don't have the
4.
I have Dark Souls, the physical version.
Oh,
you can play that on your Switch if you want. I'll play whatever.
Okay, but I haven't gotten a Switch for Christmas. It's like, it's always that's up for debate.
So the thing is, I want to say I think they picked Sekiro because I don't know if FromSoft has ever won a Game of the Year award.
Okay.
So I thought maybe they might just be doing this to be like, okay, FromSoft.
Like a handout to the developers.
Kind of like, you know, like what they do at like the Oscars, like where directors in the past have kind of gotten like shafted.
Yeah.
So they like just give them an award because they're like, you
new.
deserve it. Like,
or like they haven't gotten it before.
Guillermo del Toro won Best Picture for 2017 for Shape of Water. I was like, I think they're doing that just to give him an award.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Shape of Water was the best movie that year.
Yep.
It was fine. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a problem with it. I just thought like
it wasn't the best.
I don't think it was the best.
Yeah.
I think they were just doing it just to give him an award. Same with like FromSoft. I think they're just doing it to give them an award.
Yep.
The one on here that shouldn't be on here is Death Stranding.
Oh yeah, it shouldn't have been on there. There was some. I think it's just because of the hype of the game that was built up.
And then also there's like a weird. Hideo Kojima has like a weird relationship with like the guy who runs the Game Awards too. I think he was in Death Stranding in the game also. I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
Hold on. Who's the one who hosts the Game Awards? Host of the Game Awards. It is Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Keighley. And yeah, so Jeff Keighley, to give him credit, he's been trying to do Game Awards shows ever since like early 2000s, late 90s. Mm-hmm. Like he has been working hard to get like Game Awards to be like an actual like award show, and it hasn't been until like
to have friends in high places to get that.
Well, no. He like again, the Game Awards has like kind of transitioned from being like a big showcase with like celebrities and shit. Mm-hmm. Like that was like late 90s, early 2000s, and then like it became like a one like episode thing for like a network TV show sort of deal. Mm-hmm. And it was literally just like Jeff Keighley and like the guy from Community. I can't remember his name. Anyway, like the Game Awards have kind of been like a joke for a long time, and then like very recently it actually became like a big time thing. And so Jeff Keighley is the host because he's basically been the one person trying to make it happen for a long ass time. I'm trying to see if he was in Death Stranding. I think he was. Also, Conan O'Brien was in Death Stranding.
Oh really?
As well, yeah.
Huh.
A lot of people were in Death Stranding. Then
well, he did do a preview of the game on his show.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. So yeah, Jeff Keighley was in Death Stranding as like kind of a cameo. Sort of deal.
So it's more of a deserved cameo.
Yeah, and also like he's kind of like when in 2015, I think it was 2015, 2016.
Shit happened in 2015 that like that was probably the more memorable game of the year.
That was the one I actually watched. I didn't watch 2016 or 2017. Also, we didn't have a podcast, so I wasn't able to talk about it, or I didn't care to talk about it until now. So, also because Death Stranding, the one that I was surprised wasn't on here was Jedi Fallen Order. Oh,
I've heard things. It's been pretty.
I feel
good.
like of all that, like that should have been on there, and I think the reason it wasn't was because either I was gonna say maybe something with EA, but another EA game like won an award here.
I see.
So I think it was just because Fallen Order came out so soon, like before the Game Awards.
So they didn't have enough time for.
Yeah, they didn't have like enough time. But Death Stranding came out after Fallen Order.
Huh. Okay.
So I don't know why they because Fallen
Order. It could have been just the
Fallen Order is not on any of these like nominees.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know. Either it's something with EA.
Didn't they say?
Could be something with Disney. I don't know.
Yeah. Didn't they say it was a lot like Dark Souls in a way? Like
it was like Dark Souls. It was like Uncharted. It was like a lot of fucking. It was basically a lot of other games mechanics thrown into like Star Wars, but a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably label that as their favorite game of the year.
Well, I guess I could see there's some sense in that because they take a lot of the aspects from a lot of nice games, and you take that and the design aspects that have worked, and you put it in one kind of, creme de la creme game.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably would have put Fallen Order on that list. I probably would have. Mm-hmm. I haven't played the game. Again, I haven't played any of these games except for Control, which only a couple of hours of that.
Yep.
But just from general consensus, it seems like. I feel like Fallen Order should have been there because I feel like if the reason was it just came out too soon and they didn't have time to like review it, then why is Death Stranding on there? And I'm guessing that's just because it was so hyped. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, probably a relationship with Hideo Kojima because I think he was also a judge for one of these. For like he has been in the past. Mm-hmm. So I'm also gonna list off a couple.
That's weird. So they use developers as judges?
Yeah,
that's weird. Okay,
it's the same thing with like the Academy Awards.
Oh, okay.
Because they also have like previous actors, directors as like the people that decide.
Okay, so I guess that makes sense because I've been in the world of gaming for a long time, but I don't think it seems fair to have one of the judges as like who's developed the games, one of the games that's in the nomination. That doesn't seem fair.
That was the funny thing about 2015 was Hideo Kojima was like one of the judges for like best soundtrack.
Uh-huh.
It was Metal Gear Solid that won. So I'm like,
oh, that's funny.
I wonder who got that to win.
Well, and then that's funny too because like a lot of the songs that were in Metal Gear Solid 5 were just like a bunch of 80s songs.
That happens a lot. Like people are like, "Oh, best soundtrack goes to this game," even though a lot of it is just new songs.
Wait, what year did you say he?
2015.
2015. Oh, that's weird. The best soundtrack I think should have gone to The Witcher 3. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's a very original sounding soundtrack.
I love the soundtrack of Metal Gear Solid.
No, don't get me wrong.
It's not very original, but I think they also take into like composition, like when those tracks played, like how it was.
Okay, yeah, it does.
The game.
It does fit in with like the timeline of the game because the game takes place in the 80s, technically speaking. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just like I feel like the originality of the Witcher 3 soundtrack gives it that edge though, and that it doesn't make sense to me. Like I guess you can put the pieces together.
This was back in 2015.
I know.
This is already over and done with. Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody gives a shit.
Let's talk about what's happening now. So, I'm just gonna list off a couple of these. So, best action game of the year, Devil May Cry 5.
Okay. Yeah.
That surprised me a little bit because I didn't think a lot of people talked about that game that much, but I see it.
Mm-hmm. I haven't played it, but I mean I've seen stuff and it looks pretty good.
Best action adventure, Sekiro.
Okay. Yep.
Best art direction was Control.
Okay.
Which surprised me because
from what the pictures seem pretty like stylized.
It's a little bit, but it's also like very realistic graphics. So whenever I hear art direction, I think like, okay, so it's gonna be something like I guess best example would be like maybe Breath of the Wild for you, like something that's like stylized.
Definitely cartoon stylized. Yeah, it might be like because it's ultra reality, it's basically reality type artwork, then and a control sounds like it's like defining.
I mean, there are certain things about Control where I'm like, yeah, it is like there is some cool stuff in it that looks interesting, like the monsters and like the geometry and shapes that are coming at you. Like that is definitely interesting. I just don't know if it should have won necessarily, but I don't know. I'll give Control something, I guess. So So on the next list it says best sound design, COD Modern Warfare.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah. I haven't played or listened.
I guess like if it's realistic and it works, I guess I don't know. I think they're just trying to give COD something too. Mm-hmm. So here's the one that I also want to talk about. So the best family game. This one was Luigi Mansions 3.
Okay.
Do you want to hear what the other nominees were?
What?
Ring Fit Adventure, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Super Mario Maker 2, and Yoshi's Crafted World. So you know why that's funny?
Why is that?
They're all Nintendo games. Every single nominee was a Nintendo game.
Oh, man.
So it was basically like, which one is Nintendo's to win? Which, again, I'm sure Nintendo doesn't give a shit. It's not like they win anything extra for winning this award.
Yeah.
It's not like,
what category did you say it was again?
Family game.
Oh, yeah. Nintendo's really the only one cranking out family games.
But
anyways.
I think there's a lot of like indie games that came out that are also like Overcooked 2 came out this year, I think, or was that last year?
But the thing is like Nintendo definitely has like the overwhelming exposure as family-friendly games.
Oh, okay.
That bring in like,
Overcooked 2 came out last year. That was my bad. So I was wrong about. But I'm sure I'm sure there's other family games that came out this year.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
That they just didn't add because either like I don't know.
But
Probably
Nintendo is so widespread, like the amount of and like they're known as a family-friendly company.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that makes sense. I'm not mad about it. I just thought it was like funny.
But the fact that you
pointed out is kind of funny. It's Nintendo's award to win. Yeah, it really doesn't. Rename it could have been like any. If they had picked like one other game that wasn't Nintendo, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
It's just because every single one was a Nintendo game. I was like,
yeah,
they're gonna win either way. It's the same people.
Yeah.
So here's one I thought was funny. So the award was like new freshest game, or like new freshest game studio, basically.
Yep.
This one was sponsored by Subway. Specifically said sponsored by Subway, so I put fresh Subway game.
Fresh Subway game.
And this one went to Zeum, and they're the ones who made Disco Elysium. I don't think you know what that is. It's a game that was released on Steam. I've heard it's really good. It's like an isometric top-down like detective sort of game. That's also an RPG.
Yep.
I think we should play it.
Okay.
But there's a lot of reading. Like most of the game is reading. Oh god,
remember that last reading game we had, buddy?
Exactly. So best indie game went to Disco Elysium as well.
Yep.
Which I agree with. I think of all the other indie games, it probably deserved it. It just had the most work put into it.
Yeah.
Best multiplayer game went to Apex Legends.
Okay.
And I'm not listing off every single topic. These are just the only ones that were like interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because there were like ones like best esport player, best esport team. Like I don't give a shit about esports. I don't. Give
I mean, like
there was one that was best esports coach. I was like, who?
Yeah.
I was like, not to shit on esports guys. They're cool.
It's definitely for a certain kind of person. Though.
I just don't watch it, and I don't care.
Yep.
It could have been they could have put like fucking Cheese McGrind as best esports, and I would have no idea who the fuck that was. I'd be like, all right, cool.
Big Papa Boy, best esports coach.
Okay, so that's
2019.
That's everything I had for the Game Awards.
Okay.
So
I think I didn't give a shit about anything else other than the Xbox.
Yeah, the Xbox announcement was at the Game Awards, and that's what we talked about the most.
Yeah.
Again, to refresh, Game Awards, I think it's cool. Green Day played.
Oh, they did?
They played at the Game Awards.
Nice.
I didn't listen to it. It could have been shit for all I know. But from what I know, Green Day does a pretty good live show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I agree. I mean,
my mom has gone to one of their live shows. Said it was one of the best live shows he's got.
Oh yeah. I mean, in terms of crowd work, I'm sure he's got it down.
Yeah. They're good.
Yeah. I mean, you say what you want about their music nowadays. I think like they've been in the business long enough. Like
their new album wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was fine.
Wait a minute. It's not.
That's Revolution Radio.
You're talking about Revolution Radio, right? Okay.
That was
because they came out with another thing.
Oh, did
Let me look it up.
Oh, my bad. I thought there was.
Well, they might have come out with another single.
They could, yeah. Well, singles I don't count. Albums are the ones I care about because that's the one that I'm like, okay, I can actually like track it.
Hold on a second. They came out with a Christmas. Is that a Christmas album? No, you're right. It wasn't anything else.
That was in 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I thought Revolution Radio was fine. It was okay.
Yeah, they came out with
another album?
2 songs.
Oh, 2 songs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I
well, because there's another song I heard after Revolution Radio came out, and it was like but it was a single that they were coming out with, and I was like, oh, is this a new album? But anyways, yeah, I don't doubt that Green Day puts on a really fucking good show.
Yeah, I mean, we could watch it after this podcast is done. I'm just sure we get copyrighted up the ass if we played it right now.
We would get literally fucked.
Green Day would be like, fuck you guys.
No,
why
actually,
do I give them British? They're American. I always forget that.
Fuck you guys.
Because the way he sings, he kind of sounds British.
Yeah, the kind of the
also
rugged,
because they're like a punk rock band. Like punk rock is associated with like
Britain.
That's where most of the big ones came from.
Another thing on Green Day, like, I think just the overall nostalgia of Green Day, just kind of like I'm not really gonna be one ready to shit on them. Like
I love Green Day.
Yeah, Green Day is
like like, yeah, say what you want about their music. I think they're great. Also because like they're one of the few bands that didn't have like. They're one of the few artists that don't have a lot of like controversy about them.
True, yeah.
Like they haven't done anything that's like overtly shitty.
Well, the one controversial thing that I think was Bang Bang in regards to like their music video and like Trump and like association to the KKK.
But they've done that forever.
Yeah,
they did that.
Yeah, they
did that during the Bush administration too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's small controversies.
American Idiot was all about that.
Yeah. It's nothing like, oh, like Juice WRLD died.
Oh yeah, that was.
I saw that.
I was a little upset by that.
I don't listen to rap much, but I heard about Juice WRLD dying, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, like
the reason why I was sad is because I thought he was getting better with his music. Mm-hmm. I hate Lucid Dreams.
Okay.
Lucid Dreams is like his biggest like hit,
and you just don't like it.
It sounds like garbage. I think I've played it.
Okay.
To you a couple times, you're like, oh, this does not sound good.
Is that weird song where it's like kind of emo? I have
these lucid dreams where I don't feel a thing.
Oh, was it that one you showed me?
It's an emo rap.
Yeah, it was an emo rap song. You said it was like.
Yep. So, the reason why I thought he was getting better is because Ellie Goulding had a song this year which was called "Hate Me." Mm-hmm. I don't like the song very much. Mm-hmm. Juice WRLD had a verse in it. And it sounded like a good rap. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
God damn it, is he coming back?
I was like, he's getting better.
Yeah.
I was like, he sounds like an actual rapper now.
Yeah.
And I do like one, what?
Look it up. I actually kind of want to know the details of like how he died because they said it was a seizure, but.
He had a seizure, and it had something to do with him taking drugs.
Yeah, there's something drug involved, and I can't remember. I just saw the first articles that came out like an hour after he died. But
cause of death was a seizure. How did Juice WRLD die? And this is from thevulture.com.
Okay.
Written by Zoe Haylock, so we're giving credit because that's what I'm doing with these.
Okay.
On December 8th, 6 days after his 21st birthday, so he just started drinking.
Oh, fuck.
Which sucks.
Damn, that sucks.
That's shit.
That's
dude.
Like life kick.
I mean, I know he drank before that, but now he can legally do it.
Yeah, that's kind of a kick in the dick.
He suffered an unknown medical emergency shortly after landing at Chicago's Midway International Airport, and was later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital.
Damn.
So let's see if it said. Okay, when did he die? We know when he died. How did he die? Juice WRLD's official cause of death has not been determined.
Oh, really?
As additional toxicology, cardiac pathology, and neuropathology tests were required following the initial autopsy on Monday. His medical emergency has been described as a seizure and a heart attack, although neither have been confirmed as press time. According to Chicago police, Juice WRLD went into convulsions as federal agents searched the private jet he arrived in. He had convulsions when they got on there. A federal agent administered the opioid antidote Narcan, Narcan.
Okay.
I'm just reading it.
So just
I don't know what that is. Juice WRLD woke up incoherent briefly, and TMZ reported that paramedics spent 40 minutes treating the rapper, attempting to steady his heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And then the question is, did Juice WRLD overdose? TMZ's law enforcement sources allege that Juice WRLD swallowed multiple pericoquet pills? Here.
Let me see. Where's that? Several unknown pills. Peroxide pills? Interesting. Here, let me look it up.
In order to hide them from federal agents, one of the rapper's associates told local law enforcement that Juice WRLD took several unknown pills before his medical emergency, adding that the 21-year-old had allegedly recently become addicted to Percocet. Juice WRLD has been open with his struggles with drug addiction. In July, he tweeted that he would stop abusing codeine for his girlfriend's... What?
Codeine?
Yep. For his girlfriend's sake. Currently, whether or not Juice WRLD overdosed is unknown. Overdose. I was a little bit upset.
Percocet. It might be. Narcotic. It can treat moderate to severe pain. Oh. High risk for addiction and dependence, can cause respiratory distress and death when taken in high doses or when combined with other substances, especially alcohol.
Yeah, so a lot of people are saying that
Per coconut. Yeah,
he did it just to hide it from the cops, which I don't get, because like if you're that wealthy, you can just pay it off if you get arrested.
Yeah.
Like Bruno Mars had the same thing with cocaine, but again, you're just so rich you can just pay it off.
That just seems okay. So that seems
it's not worth dying.
Because when you mention his like what he died from, I'm like a seizure and a heart attack. That's definitely fucking induced by something. There's no way that's like naturally like.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
But like, no, I mean, if for both of those things to happen at the same time, that's definitely got to be something. Right. So anyway, like per coconut though.
I don't know the drug. Whenever I hear people talk about like rappers with drugs, it's almost always like Xanny.
That's the only thing I've. Maybe
like antidepressants is like the big thing now.
Yeah. Actually, I think I might have heard of it. I might be butchering it. I think it's pronounced Prococonut, but I could be
I don't
wrong. Know. Anyway, that seems like. Oh yeah. He probably consumed alcohol with it anywa's because
maybe I don't know. I'm not gonna assume anything because we don't know. It doesn't seem like we know the facts.
But I'm just literally just stated like if it's a risk if it's taken in high dosage and with like alcohol.
Yeah. It sounds like what it sounds like is that he took it before so he wouldn't get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Which I just think is kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you're a celebrity, you can kind of just get away with that.
Yep. Yeah, buy it off. Just
pay it off.
Yeah,
unless he doesn't want to, or he just overdosed on it. Who knows?
Well, he could have been going to a show and like having that drama before going. They might have like canceled on him or something. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna say about it because again, I don't know all the details.
Yeah.
Also, I don't really want to talk about it because I feel sad.
Yeah,
true. It feels sad. He was 21 years old.
My investigative.
He's not much older than us.
Yeah.
Like again, drug addiction sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It sucks that he couldn't get help before that happened.
Well, you never know if he was addicted. He could have been just. You could be right about like him just trying to.
The fact that he was taking the drug in the first place makes it sound like that was like his drug of choice or something.
Yeah.
Like he did it for recreation, not because he like.
Mm-hmm.
Because as he said, he had drug addiction problems.
Oh, he did. Oh, I didn't.
That's
know
what
that.
it said. He had drug addiction problems.
Okay. I gotcha.
So yeah, sucks.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Juice WRLD.
Rip.
I hate lucid dreams, but I thought he was getting better as an artist.
He's having good lucid dreams now.
He didn't understand what a lucid dream was.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to shit on him now because again.
Yeah, if you shit on him now, you're just gonna torn a new one.
I was surprised. Well, people loved him for some reason. And I was like, I liked a couple of his songs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was just happy that he was like starting to become a better rapper. At least from what I saw, I was like, he's starting to get there.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually he'll have like a really good song. I was waiting for the potential.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know you don't listen to his music. So.
No, I don't. But like the thing is like there are some rap. Like I don't necessarily listen to him on a regular basis, but I'm like, if I were to get into rap, I'd maybe start like listening to those people.
You don't listen to like much current music to begin with.
Not really. I actually was listening to this gets into another point, and actually I was watching an old podcast of Joe Rogan's, and he had the Black Keys on them, and I should know this. I forget the drummer of the Black Keys, but he made an interesting point about like good indie music, and just like the algorithms with Spotify in general, and I kind of agree with him on it.
What did he say?
Well, so basically he was saying the way the algorithm is set up with Spotify is that, those like created playlists that they give you, they're like, oh yeah, we recommend this because you've been listening to a certain genre in the past.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to specifically like the indie rock that the Black Keys play, he said like when I listen to like indie rock playlists that like particularly iTunes or Spotify puts together, all of it, or like most of it basically is like shit I've already heard and shit that's not indie rock or whatever, the genre that he has. And it's not good is the thing. And then he made the point like he went on vacation in France, and there was a certain station that they had in France that played American indie rock music, and it was fucking more accurate to the actual genre than actual stations in the US.
Yeah.
And so,
but I feel like, if you really want that though, it's not hard to look for it. Spotify might not give it to you because Spotify, as far as I know, they like get paid by certain.
Oh
artists,
yeah, no
like,
doubt
they get stuff. They
get paid out.
But I mean,
but
like,
the thing is,
if you really want that, it's not hard to look for it.
Yeah, I suppose the way they put it out though, it sounds like it isn't, and the way like I think maybe what you're thinking about right now too could be like, in order to current playlist or songs or playlist generators out there that bring you music. I don't think he's even referring to that as like true indie rock music.
Well, what the fuck counts as true indie rock music? You could have argued that Imagine Dragons was indie rock for their first album.
Yeah, I also
they were
think
like that, but that was like one of the most popular things.
Definitely, like artists definitely like transition over time in a way. Like consistently.
To me, indie is such a non-term. Anything can be indie. I mean,
I think alternative is such a non-term.
Also alternative.
I think it's more of a non-term.
I understand indie in the fact that like it's independent.
Mm-hmm.
But are the Black Keys signed with a record label? Because if they are, they aren't independent then.
I think they're referring to a sound. They're referring to a sound.
That can mean anything though.
Yeah. No. Okay. So the thing is like it's definitely more. Okay, so the way that I think that the way Spotify recommends stuff, and like it could be just because they're sold out by more. They definitely probably sort things by sound, and so the way I think they have it set up though, everything seems a lot more poppy and like alternative.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, that's not really the indie rock sound.
I'm just going to make the statement now. I think genres for music are a dead idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's stupid that we even classify stuff as genres anymore.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be genres, it should be like the most broad shit. Because like if we're like things have changed so much now, where like alternative rock doesn't sound like alternative rock as we understand it.
Yeah.
But again, things change.
They do change.
And also genres were a thing that were developed when people had to pay for music.
Yep.
We don't really pay for music anymore.
Yeah, well, I think
you pay for Spotify, but it's not the same thing as like when you had back in like the 80s or even 90s. You went to a store, and when you went to the store, the reason why we had genres was that it'd be easier for you to find stuff that's similar to what you listen to.
Well, going on that too, though, I think when it comes to just common conversation, it's easier to also the way genres have been specified nowadays. It's easier to kind of say like what you're talking about, the sound that you're referring to. So it may not be the logistics of like purchasing things, but I think it like in terms of conversation, it's definitely that way. It's easier,
yeah. At the time, it made sense at the time because you had to pay for the specific, like you paid for an album. But the way
things have blended
or a compilation or whatever.
Yeah, no.
Like you pay for those, but nowadays you don't have to pay for a specific album or even songs anymore.
It's more of a thing to preserve the separation of like defining sound.
Which I don't agree with.
You don't agree with? Okay.
I think music can borrow from each other. And I think it can make good things. And obviously, like if combining some things just doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
But I think like having like that was the big thing that happened with fucking Old Town Road. That was the entire discussion behind it because people were like, they took it off the country charts because they're like, it's not a country song, which I agree with. It's not very country.
Yep.
However, nothing on the country chart sounds country anymore.
Yep.
Like what you would think it's like country, it just sounds like pop.
Yeah.
Or like kind of rock in a way.
Rocky or rap. Yeah. Well, and the thing is,
it's fine to borrow from other. I think it's totally fine to borrow from other genres to make something new or to make something interesting at least.
Yeah.
However, like just the fact that we still try to label things as genres, I think is stupid. Like I get it. It makes things kind of easier, but then you're like, but so many artists nowadays like blend between so many different genres. Like when they're talking about fucking Triple Extension, they're like constantly switching between like rap, pop, all sorts of stuff.
Well, okay, but when you mention that, the thing is the blending of things. Usually the blending of these music, they get, top ratings or they're listened to a lot. I think what the guy from the Black Keys was referring to was kind of original sound. like new sound, original sound, stuff that like.
And that's what defines indie rock?
No, but like you could also make the point that like blended sound can be popular in its way, but also original sound can be popular in its own way too. So, sure. I think like so you could be particularly biased towards the blending of different genres, or I guess if you don't want to use genres anymore, but I also think that like there's a little bit of convenience in having specified.
I don't
but
disagree, but I just think that like. I just think for the argument of saying, like, this doesn't sound indie rock, well, I mean, if you're saying it doesn't sound like a specific genre, no shit to me. Because nowadays genres are kind of just all over the place.
If it's not...
If it's not the specific sound you're looking... I don't even, like... If you just don't like it and you want something different, there are ways to... I get Spotify isn't presenting that, and it's probably kind of sucky because you're like, well, it'd be easier if Spotify just did it that way, but...
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like just the way from I've heard it, and from the music I've listened to, I think when we're specifically referring to alternative and indie, and even specifically indie, because I don't think people look at it from like, oh, they're independent record label. They could be signed on to a record label if they're, big enough. Mm-hmm. But I think it refers to a sound and like kind of the ruggedness and the like, non-conventional sound that people go by. Like it doesn't have to be like, the sound doesn't have to be clean, it could be different in a way. And I think that's what
I feel like
with a mixture of ruggedness, and then alternative is kind of like, I think alternative is the most, if you're to give the strongest point of like, it's blended, alternative is definitely the genre.
Literally like alternative can mean anything.
It could. Well, it's the blend genre. That's what it is. If you to read it,
indie, in my opinion, means independent, which is like, it's made independently.
I don't look at it that way, honestly.
Which I understand.
On the technical side of things, I agree.
That's what the term would mean, independent.
Yeah,
and it means independently made. But I understand that that's not what
people
it means
don't really
anymore.
Refer
it just means
to
it does mean a certain sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. I think indie is kind of like the opposite of like what pop is in a way.
Yep.
But it like you can say like indie pop, indie rock, indie.
I think really
indie rap isn't really a thing.
It's the unrefined, not in a bad way, but it's like the unrefined sound. Like it definitely wasn't.
There's not like there's not like a huge team working.
Yeah, there wasn't a high production value.
Like it kind of means like smaller production, like a handful of people working.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And like it's got a rugged sense to it. Like it's definitely like an upbringing sound, And I think that's what he was referring to, was like smaller, could be like smaller band. Well, he also mentioned that too. It was just like smaller bands in general. They just get, and I'm sure you can agree with that too. They just get kind of shit on by modern music nowadays because it's just like,
it's always been the case. Smaller bands always get like...
No, well, the thing is in order to get big fast in a way in today's modern music culture, like you got to have some sound, like not only is it new, but it has the capabilities of being like... I think it's actually attractive to a wide audience.
I mean, in a way. I would say that Spotify does make it difficult for like smaller groups to be like known.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of always been the case, but... Mm-hmm. Also nowadays it's easier for like anybody to be like fucking SoundCloud rappers become huge and all that. Like people that have come from nowhere just get like that one hit and people are like, that's a person to listen to now. Mm-hmm.
Well, it could be also from like so somebody
and obviously
somehow
like, a lot of them get signed and everything too. Like I understand.
Well, like SoundCloud rappers too. It could have been like a situation where somebody found some SoundCloud rapper and then like, oh fuck, like this guy's huge, and then like people started following that in those footsteps, and then like people were like, oh, are there more people coming along here? And then so one person made it huge, like who's kind of the original SoundCloud like rapper?
I don't know.
The first big. There's so many now. I don't know. It's not Tekashi. No, I know that. Post Malone was kind of around some of the first.
So they like everybody lists Lil Uzi Vert, Juice WRLD.
Okay, yeah.
Travis Scott, Post Malone, 21 Savage, Lil Peep, all these guys.
Yep, yeah. So
like originally, like they were on SoundCloud, and then
they originally. But I like who was the first to get big off SoundCloud?
I don't know. I feel like, in my opinion, probably like I don't know. I'm trying to remember like the first trap song that I heard. First big trap song. I'm trying to see like what the first one. Oh, we're over time, but I got another thing to talk about.
We got shit to do.
I got another shit to talk about. So it was in 2010. Oh, Fetty Wap.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah.
I don't think he was the first, but like that's first name that comes to me. Or I'm looking at like Wikipedia right now, but like when I saw Fetty Wap, I'm like, oh, yep. Yeah. That was like pretty early trap. Like was like in the like early 2010s. There's other people. I don't know their names. Again, at like early 2010s, I did not listen to fucking pop music. Yep. I've only done that like within the last like 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Like, I've cared about pop music.
Yeah, and in a general sense too, like just as a disclaimer, I have not been around enough like modern music. Like when you bring up a lot of people, you could easily say I've been living under the rock for the past decade.
I was actually planning to bring somebody up here. Oh, actually, yeah. There are 2 topics I want to talk about, but like the one at the very end here, it was kind of like I care about it, not that like it was about The Weeknd because he just released some singles. You don't know who that is?
No, I do.
Oh, okay.
I when he first came out, he sounded like, and at the time I was really like. I didn't like auto-tune artists, and like also his fucking haircut looks so dumb, and I'm like,
it didn't look good, but I liked him. Like he was a good artist.
I think at first like I didn't really like Starboy, and then I was just like, I know you like that song, so like I tread carefully here, but initially I didn't like. I've grown to the song because I've kind of started to listen to more like modern,
that album was pretty
poppy, rappy stuff.
I think that album was pretty well. It's because it's like it is pop, but it's like darker. It's not Ariana Grande pop. Yep. Yeah. It's like it's darker. It's got a little bit of an edge to it.
Yeah, edgy.
And again, I don't like his personality and the way he's talking about himself as like a sex god. I'm like,
oh yeah,
he's one of those. You're like, not like a sex god to me, but
ladies man guy.
I mean, like to be fair, like I love Prince, and Prince was also like a sex symbol of the day, which is hilarious to me. But at the same time, kind of pulled it off.
Yeah, yeah.
The Weeknd also kind of pulls it off. I just don't. It's not like I don't look at him like sex god. Yeah. I look at him. I'm like,
just some famous pop guy. Yeah.
We can talk about that a little bit later, because there's a topic I really want to talk about. So we're gonna get into a little bit of the science corner here.
Oh, okay.
Because I think this.
Well, it depends on the science. I don't know. I don't do much like. I don't.
You don't have to know it. This is just interesting facts. So, okay. This was a.
All right, hotshot. Spit me some facts.
Okay, so this was an article written by the Daily Mail. It was written by Victoria Allen, and it was basically saying that the longest living mammal has been determined to be the bowhead whale. Okay. So the bowhead whale has now been estimated to live up to 268 years old.
Fuck, really?
Yep.
Damn.
And this actually kind of solves an issue they had a little while ago. I'll bring that up in a little bit, but this is an exact quote from the article. Bowheads, which live in the Arctic, were previously known to live at least 211 years old, after one was dated using amino acids from its eye. Okay. So they did a new sort of study with a bowhead whale, where they looked at the genes, and what they determined was that, so they looked at 42 genes using a chemical process known as methylation, to predict the life expectancy.
They put meth in the whales.
So I tried to figure out what methylation was. The idea, I didn't do that much research because there was a lot of terminology I didn't know. Yeah. So I was kind of like, from what I understand, it's when like DNA uses
Come on, man! You take one human genetics class, you should know all this shit by now.
Fuck you. Hold on.
I'm surprised you're not up to par with these genetics terms.
It uses, what is it? Shut up. Okay, from my understanding, it's like when they use methyl. So it says DNA methylation is a process in which methyl groups are added to the DNA molecule.
Okay.
So I try to figure out how they did that to like figure out life expectancy.
Is it like a dating test?
I think it's something like that, but it's also
dating?
they did it with a few different species. So they did it with the cool thing about this, so they can use this process to look at extinct species and figure out what their average expectancy was. So they looked at woolly mammoths, and they found that woolly mammoths had like a lifespan of about 60 years, very similar to like average elephants. Mm-hmm. And they looked at the average natural life expectancy of humans, which was 37 years.
Really? Wow.
So that is supposedly the natural life expectancy of humans.
Wow.
And the reason why it's double is obviously like medicine and like
infrastructure,
overall health and like how we live nowadays. Like there's not a lot they can like, but like the natural life expectancy is about.
Thank you, grandfathers.
Yeah. So the average natural life expectancy is about 37 years. So bowhead whales are the oldest living mammals.
Yep.
And the reason why this was interesting to me, because I think it was last year, they also found out how old Greenland sharks live. And it was a ridiculous amount of time.
Greenland sharks. Oh, was that the same shark that looks kind of like a tube?
I'll show you a picture.
Like a tube with a stretched out face, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
It's got like mossy.
They're kind of like just. Yeah, that's basically what they look like.
Can I see a picture? Because I might recognize it. Oh yeah.
They're kind of like gross ass looking sharks, but they're very cool.
Yeah.
So obviously they live like in Greenland, very cold areas. Who's the guy who did Dirty Jobs? Mike Rowe?
Mike Rowe, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Rowe did an episode where he cut open a Greenland shark.
Why?
I don't remember.
Are they endangered at all, or?
I don't think they're endangered. It says near threatened, but they don't know the. They don't know the. It's kind of like when they just don't know the number. They just say it's like close to threatened. But so, what they did with Greenland sharks was they used radiocarbon dating with a shark. The lifespan is about 390 years old.
Fuck, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a big thing about, so they're not entirely sure. They say it's between 252 to 512. Mm-hmm. So they literally just split the difference to try to like say like this is like what the average is probably about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they said like through radiocarbon dating they found that a shark was about 512 years old. And through some other carbon dating, they basically were like, well, it's between like 252, 512.
Yeah. Is there so do you think there's something to be said in correlation to like cold weather and metabolism and how that affects?
Probably. Also probably just because like they have to like, and it's kind of like the same thing with like, I think blue whales live up to like 100 years old.
Yeah.
Which like, it's not crazy, but like that's pretty long. Like humans live an average of 70.
Yeah.
On average.
Depends on the country too. Yeah.
Yeah, but like overall global is about 60 to 70. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like just having a species that can live that like that's not like a plant or something, like something that's like in one place doesn't have a lot that's like needed to live. Mm-hmm. And I think it is probably something like cold temperatures
or like in
metabolism and like they don't need to eat nearly as much probably as like other species.
I'm surprised the life expectancy.
Also, living in the Arctic, they probably have less competition overall.
Oh yeah, and an overall abundance of food because, I mean,
and a lot of
the creatures that are able to withstand cold temperatures like that are like smaller creatures like krill or whatever.
Right, and they're usually like really deep sea creatures. It seems like deep sea creatures just kind of like tend to live longer.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah, so I thought that was a cool fact.
That's interesting. Yeah,
and it also explains another mystery about bowhead whales where. I forgot what year I think it was 2018. Mm-hmm. Could be wrong. But this is from Awesome Ocean. They didn't have an author, so I won't be able to credit that. But so biologists found a bowhead whale in Alaska with fragments of a 19th century harpoon in its shoulder bone.
Shit. Wow.
So the weapon was used more than 100 years ago by whalers in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And they estimated the bowhead whale was at least 115 years old.
Okay.
Because 115 years old is when they would have used that type of device.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like at the time, New Bedford was basically like the capital of whaling in the world.
Yeah.
And
what in the world?
So, this is fucking crazy. It was an exploding lance.
What?
So
it literally detonates on impact.
They would throw it at the whale, and when it hit the whale, it would explode.
Fuck. And that thing still kept on for 150 years.
Yep. So it literally
wow.
had a fucking lance explode in its shoulder, and it was just like, I'm gonna live another 115 years. Fuck
this ain't
guys.
shit. I'm just gonna.
Exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, and they said the whale was shot sometime between 1885 and 1889. I mean, 1895.
Can you look at the overall metabolism of the blue, the bowhead whale?
Yeah, I can a bit, but
I kind of want to know something about that because I feel like there's something to be said in overall like resilience, an animal's resilience to things.
So yeah, with that lance thing, so Eskimos killed the whale. Mm-hmm. And in the blubber, they found the fragments of the spear.
Wow.
And then by carbon dating it, they found that it was at least... I need to blow my nose. Hold on, just 1 second.
Garrick needs to blow.
I'm sick right now, I'm sorry.
He's sick. I'm sick of his shit. Kidding? Not kidding. Garrick's a total bitch. I hate him so. I mean, what? Oh God. Dude, I thought you would actually like. Sorry, to get off track. I saw this meme in our meme page on Facebook. I control the
lobsters. That's pretty funny. So yeah, whale survived an exploding lance.
Oh man,
did not survive some Eskimos.
They are the real MVP of the animal kingdom.
For sure.
Lions don't got shit on whales.
No.
I'm surprised. Okay, so there's a specific reason, obviously, why they took the consensus from one specific whale, though, and on an overall, because whales, on a general worldwide consensus, are pretty endangered.
Yeah, they're endangered.
Except for this of the bowhead whale, because it sounds like they live in a non-conventional fishing area.
Yeah.
And obviously the Atlantic, the Arctic.
I think they are somewhat endangered. They aren't very common. Bowhead, whale.
That's also something to be said, like if they're not common.
Population, let's see. The population has been estimated about 50,000 worldwide.
Wow, okay.
What is the blue whale? I think it's higher than that, isn't it?
It's gotta be.
Blue whale population. And blue whales live about 100 years? Oh yeah, blue whales. Oh wait. 10,000, 25,000. Wow, that surprises me. I thought they would have been much higher.
Wow.
I think whales on average are just really low.
Yeah. Man,
whale sharks.
They need to get on Japan and Norway about that shit. They need to fucking crack down.
Yeah, there is a whole documentary about how Japan hunts dolphins and shit.
Oh, that's right. I think you told me about
Cove,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should watch it. It's fairly interesting.
Yeah, my whole outlook on the Japanese will just change.
I just don't get it. Who eats whale? Why?
Oh man, they have so many fish delicacies over there. Just
there's also
can you drop whale?
There's also just so much other fish in the sea. Why are we hunting the same fish over and over again?
Yeah,
fish just tastes like fish. Come on.
Okay, the way that Japanese culture is structured too.
Same with sharks. Fuck you guys. Don't hunt sharks. Sharks are cool.
The way things are though,
Greenland sharks live 400 years.
Japan definitely preserves a lot of old tradition. In Tokyo, that's changes.
Yeah.
But when you get out of Tokyo, there's definitely,
as you know, as Japanese person yourself.
Yeah, as a Japanese native myself. But no, it's kind of like
a wannabe Japanese native.
As an otaku myself. No, as a weeaboo. But no, when it comes to a lot of the old culture, I think they definitely preserve. There's definitely places around Japan that they preserve a lot of that, and coastal region, because that's been their traditions for a long time, is fishing. That's been a huge part of Japanese culture and day-to-day life.
So Okay.
Are you looking up something to completely blow my point out of the water?
No, not at all. I just have another topic that I want to talk about real quick because that was like the last topic before I had like the weekend, but I don't think we're not talk about that very much.
Okay.
Because you don't seem very interested.
Fuck them.
Okay, so a new trailer recently came out.
Is it movie related?
Yep.
Is it Ryan Reynolds stuff?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it is the new Ghostbusters trailer.
I've heard about that. Is it
Ghostbusters Afterlife? I want to say, I think it looks fine.
Okay.
We can watch the trailer real quick. I'll have to turn down the volume though, or turn it up a little bit. Oh, turn down. Finn Wolfhard's in it.
He's dude. This guy's in like all the new.
To be honest, I'm fine with that though.
Yeah, no.
He's a good actor. He's fine.
I'm not surprised if it's a bunch of like.
He's a cutie.
If I'm gay for anybody.
Not gay Finn. You know, just call me.
Just call me. He definitely plays like the teenage gang roles really well.
Right. So, people have been having some controversy over it because it seems like it's a Ghostbusters version that's a little bit more serious, a little less comical.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't care. I also am not a huge fan of Ghostbusters to begin with. I like the first film. That's it. 2016 Ghostbusters, never watched it. I didn't care about the controversy. I just thought like if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. If it's not, it's not. Who cares? Yeah. But yeah, so this one, it's not a reboot. It's a sequel of the original Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a little long trailer, but yeah. How about we just like cut this part real quick?
Sure. I just want to watch it. Shut the fuck up. That's kind of dope.
I think it looks good. Oh.
It's only Finn Wolfhard that does it for you.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of controversy over the fact that it's a little less comical. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Stranger Things season 4 is coming out again," because it does look a bit like Stranger Things. To be fair, again, Finn. If you put Finn Wolfhard, I would say the same thing about the It movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say the It movie. It sounds definitely like looks a lot like that.
But I think overall, I think it looks fine. It's a sequel. So supposedly they're the grandkids of the
original
the nerdy guy
in
the Ghostbusters gang.
Okay.
I forgot what his name was. Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray are supposed to be in it. I'm sure they're gonna be just some cameos or something.
Yeah. It looks like the premise is like they have the ghost traps and then they like somehow they get released and then they have to track them down again
or something. I don't know. But yeah, as I said, no ghost sightings in like 30 years, so the Ghostbusters are kind of dead at that point. Like they're not needed. Mm-hmm. And then it seems like something releases them, so now they have to go hunt them down. Yeah, I think it looks fine. I think shot wise looked pretty good. Yeah, looks like an actual movie. Yeah, versus I think 2016 Ghostbusters just looked really cheap. Mm-hmm. Sadly, like I'm sure the film probably is fine for the most part. Yeah. It just looked very cheap. Like it looked like a cheaper comedy in my opinion. Yeah. Whereas I think the first Ghostbusters kind of like walks that edge between like really comical to like actual like movie pretty well. Yeah.
That was the nostalgia of it, I think, too.
It could be nostalgic. I mean, I'm not nostalgic for Ghostbusters though.
I am. Don't fucking touch it.
Ghostbusters is like the one like I like it, but it's not like a movie I care about. Like the only thing like the movies that like I'm really nostalgic for are probably like Jurassic Park or
Aliens.
Like, well, not really nostalgic. Not Aliens. Jurassic Park I watched when I was a kid. Aliens I watched when I was like my age. So.
What? My age?
I mean, like I watched it a couple years ago, so I'm not like, really nostalgic for it.
Recently, you mean? You fucking delinquent.
Like the movies I'm nostalgic for are like all shit movies. Yeah. Except for Jurassic Park. Still my favorite movie.
Still your favorite?
By a wide margin.
Oh god. I can't even remember. In terms of nostalgia.
Spider-Man I'm probably nostalgic for.
Yeah, same here. Sam Raimi
Spider-Man, probably nostalgic. Even
Spider-Man 3.
I can acknowledge when they're bad or when they're not great, but still I like them more than any other
I think if I watched Spider-Man 3 nowadays, I would probably be like, Because back when I first saw Spider-Man 3, I wasn't aware of...
I recently watched the first two. I thought that the second one was good.
Mm-hmm.
First one is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stupid in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the second one overall still holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
I think that's like kind of the case for most people.
Yeah.
The third one, I kind of watched for like the first 10 minutes on Netflix, and I was like,
fuck. Nah.
It just felt different for some reason. It just had a weird starting premise, and I was like, I don't really want to watch it. Because especially, like, I just know it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, if you just kind of prepare, you already know that it's going to be bad. Yeah. I think it's just like, you're in that mindset.
Yeah. But what do you think about this new Ghostbusters? Are you interested?
Well, the thing is, it's like, it definitely, cinematically, it definitely appeals to, like, the new teenage gang movies, you know, like, like, you know,
like it's retreading, like it's starting to bring back like the Goonies, I think.
Something like that, definitely. Which does strike a chord with a lot of people in a good way, because like, you know, the Goonies was definitely like a big. Okay, I watched the Goonies before. I think it wasn't in the stage of my life where I was like noting things down as memorabilia movies. I thought I saw the Goonies. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a fun movie.
Same thing. I honestly can't tell you anything about the Goonies.
Really? Yeah, true. Like I can't really.
I just know. I know. It's so like. It's entwined with culture.
Yeah, it's so referenced, but I'm like, ha ha ha. Yeah.
It's just like one of those movies. Like I have watched it. I don't remember. I don't know a single character's name except One Eye Willie. That's it.
I don't even
and that's just
know
like
that.
the dead pirate.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And the fucking monster. The guy.
Oh yeah,
Sloth or whatever.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I kind of remember from the movie.
Now that you bring up nostalgia, though, like I haven't thought about it in a long time, and I'm trying to remember like movies that were really big for me.
Just like look up 2000.
Okay, actually, here's one thing that I'm probably a lot different than a lot of people on this. I think Disney movies. Not as blown up as like these nostalgic movies in a lot of people's minds. Like for Disney movies, like a lot of the original, like, you know, like Little Mermaid, Peter Pan, you know, like a lot of these movies people really, you know, harped on as like, oh, I love those movies. Like, and I like them too in a certain way, but they're not like, it's like the Goonies movies in a way, the Goonie movie in a way. Like I appreciated them and I like them, but I'm not like referencing them.
They aren't like, well, they also aren't like really my childhood. Disney movies aren't really my childhood.
Definitely, they're for like 90s, definitely.
Yeah.
90s kids.
So I'm trying to look like, here's some 2000s movies. It is funny to say like I'm nostalgic for stuff like Avatar.
Avatar. Shit.
Which is probably funny to some people. I was 8 when the movie came out. Like, take that into consideration. And then like, actually, I didn't watch Eternal Sunshine when it came out. Dark Knight, I watched when it came out. I was 7.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes.
I like Sherlock Holmes. I like that movie.
Again, the thing to keep in mind is like the movies I'm nostalgic for are like movies from like the mid 2000s because that's the ones I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Jurassic Park is like the standout. My parents just got that for me, basically, and I love that movie to death.
Percy Jackson actually was one movie that I.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, there you go. That's an easy go. That's easy one.
But then that started in the like late 90s.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's not even like our time. It's just the peak of it was our time.
Around. Yeah, it's around.
Stuff like
I got
Spirited Away, but that was like one of my sister's favorites.
You know, I honestly...
Iron Man came out 2008. I loved the shit out of that when it first came out.
Honestly,
Wall-E.
You gotta say, like, when it comes to memorabilia movies for me, anything Greek mythology actually, like, I really dug. Like, I know you say you don't like Wrath of the Titans. Wrath of the Titans actually was kind of a big thing for me when it came out. Because, like, I was like...
silly movie.
Well, and then I think it stemmed from seeing, like, Jason and the Argonauts when I was a kid. Like, that was a big... I love that movie. That was a really good movie. Like, the whole, like, mythology, like, hidden monsters and fighting off, like, these mythical creatures. Mm-hmm. Like, I always, like, appreciated that. That was such a fun thing for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any. Again, I never watched
Bond movie. Oh, Bond movies are classic for me.
I don't think I've ever sat through a single Bond movie.
Not even any of the originals?
Nope.
Okay, you'll see if you see one of the originals, you can kind of cringe when it comes to like him being a ladies' man, because oh my god, like it definitely feels like, man, this feels really wrong.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of ways, like
District 9. I watched when that came out.
What was that again?
That was the ones like where the aliens. I remember I was hyped for it because it was like aliens are like on Earth and they kind of like live there. They're the prawns, and like the guy starts turning into one of them.
Oh.
I remember I was hyped for it because it was like, I remember the trailers were like, a sphere has been found with like aliens inside it or whatever. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be badass. And it was a movie about like a guy turning into an alien. It was kind of like, I mean, it was still a decent film. I think it's a good film, but at the same time, I'm like, this is not what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like alien invasion, and then it's about like humans basically invading aliens.
Yeah.
Who are like not powerful enough to like defend themselves.
What was that one movie? Oh god.
Spider-Man 2, Batman Begins.
Do you know what this movie is? I have to describe it. It's these kids, they find a board game in their basement.
Jumanji?
Not Jumanji. It's like a space like
Galaga or Galactica or so. I know the movie.
Yes. And then their house gets transported into outer space.
I remember it was
and then
on
that
Netflix
weird robot thing.
Yeah. Had the kid from Hunger Games in it.
It did? Okay. Yeah. Look it up because I actually kind of want to know about that.
Journey to the Center of the World is another movie.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I love that one.
That's like a nostalgia movie.
Oh, yeah.
What is his?
PETA.
Josh Hutchers? Whatever.
Josh Hutchers.
But yeah, hold on. Maybe I'll be able to find it. Not Bridge of Terabithia.
It starts with an L. Like.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
With a G, I'm pretty sure. It's somewhere here. It was
like Zathura. Is that it?
Yes, Zathura.
Zathura.
Yep, and it had fucking what's her face from
what's her face?
Had Kristen Stewart. And Dak Shepard. No idea who Jonah Bobo is. That was the younger brother, but yeah. Oh, Zathura, that's the movie.
Oh man, I really liked that movie.
Yeah, it was fun. Good. It wasn't great, but I mean, like, it was a kid's film. I loved it at the time. But yeah. Oh yeah, and had like it actually scared me as a kid because of those guys.
Oh yeah.
It's all
coming back. Anyway,
no, I recently watched. I think I watched it with my sister a couple years ago. Because I was like, "Remember this movie?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, you loved that movie." And I was like, "Hell yeah, I did." And then I watched it, and I was like, it was fine."
I'm actually starting to get like I'm starting to get into like older films that like basically must-sees from like the past. Like was one that I saw recently. It was V for Vendetta. I saw that one pretty recently. Yeah. That was actually pretty good. I liked it.
I feel kind of the same way, like where I feel like I have to watch some movies. I'm like, if I die before I watch this, I'm feeling I'm gonna like miss out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, recently I just haven't had much time. Yeah. Like with school and stuff. Yeah. Kind of same with like video games, but kind of like to a lesser extent. I'm like, I'll just play where the fuck I want to play. Yeah. It's not fair. To be like, oh, I need to play, because games are way longer than fucking movies. A movie you can like just sit down and watch, enjoy, and be like, okay, I watched it. I've done it. Like it's off the list now. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of felt the same. I watched, again, these aren't like must-watch movies. I watched like a lot of Jackie Chan movies recently because I was like, they just like had to swallow them on Netflix. I'm like, and I'm running on the treadmill, so I'm like, why not? It'll work. Yeah. Equilibrium I watched, and I liked that film. Thought that was fine.
What movies have I got to look through my Netflix playlist. I saw one. It was kind of funny. Was it Olympus Has Fallen? The one where you
told me, you told me about this.
I was like, yeah, that's kind of like. I was the one comment I made where like the terrorists take over the White House, and then like it takes literally in movie time, because like when the whole lineup of events in that movie was like, what would happen if a terrorist situation attacked the White House, and like the immediate action and immediate reactions of like the armed forces and defense and stuff like that. I found it so fucking hilarious that the police officers were the first ones to arrive at the White House, and it wasn't the like any military officials. Like, there's obviously the Secret Service there, but like, I thought that was kind of funny. Like, they wouldn't have that
it, though, in a way, like.
No, but like in the like, obviously, if it was a military, if the military was coming in, it would take maybe a little bit longer, but it took like a long ass time in movie fucking for them to get on this shit.
To be fair, maybe it does take that long.
They probably just edit it that way anyways.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no. Recently, though, by far, I've been getting in, like, comedy specials lately. Oh, my God. I've really been getting into comedy lately. And, I've actually been, like, thinking...
You're a funny guy yourself.
Yeah. I've actually been kind of thinking of, like, bits or, like, skits I could come up with. I don't know, like... If I ever become a comedian, I'm not going to talk about it because I want to have full disclosure. Anyway, no. But I've been getting into like...
Also, they're very racist.
No. Well, that's actually...
Well, I mean...
The jokes they tell are racist, but like the comedians at heart aren't not.
No.
By
that's
far.
kind of like... I think that's just like a well-known thing.
Oh, that's...
Most of them
you'd be surprised. Well, okay. On like overall like... people's mentality.
I know. Like, yeah, there's always kickback from any of those specials.
Oh yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Well, and then
like fucking Dave Chappelle recently did a new one.
Yeah.
And he made a joke about Michael Jackson diddling kids,
and
people were like, is he on Michael Jackson's side? Like, no, he's obviously fucking not.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
No, obviously he's not.
Like, I watched. Recently, Jim Jeffries' special, was it Freedom, I think? And he had to make that disclosure, like, because
I've watched that one probably like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, because he made that disclosure.
That's the one with like
Bill Cosby.
That's the one with like the gun joke too, right?
No, there was a one before that. But he
was talking about Bill Cosby.
He's talking about Bill Cosby and how like people were like saying like, oh, he sided with him.
I remember.
And he was defending him and joking about rape. And like, okay, here's one thing that I like 100% get behind when it comes to comedians. It's just like, and people's reactions to them is you can't fucking cherry pick jokes, and you can't make an argument about it.
Well, also like a lot of them just don't have the context of the joke.
They don't have the context, and then the thing is they cherry pick jokes. So let's say like
and you're also reading it versus hearing it.
Yeah, that's what the comedians. That's what they make is like.
But that every
they check the script
again. Like when
joke.
You read the joke, it sounds worse than when they're saying it because again, when saying it is different.
Yeah, there's a certain art to delivery.
Also, their job as a comedian. If you don't like the joke, that's fair.
Yeah.
You can say, I don't like the joke.
But to criticize them and say they're a certain way because of it.
And then in some cases, like, it really is bad. Like the guy from Kramer, when he did that, he had that bit, like, where he had, like, a heckler, and he just started dropping the N-word in front of him.
Oh, shit.
And, like, his excuse was, like, I was trying to make a joke out of it, and it's like, yeah, but like, it really came off as you just being racist. Like,
yeah, well, yeah, when you do crowd work in comedy, like, I could see how that could be the most likely because it's your immediate reaction.
Again, also just because like if you actually watch it, he sounds more angry than like if he's just joking around.
Yeah, I can see.
Because like some people like
across.
Fucking I mean, Jim Jeffries, like he said the N-word on his comedy. I'm pretty sure he has, right?
I mean, he drops the C-bomb all the time. But
maybe, yeah, I don't know. I know for sure Louis C.K. has dropped the N-word.
Oh, yeah, he has.
Yeah, he does. But it never has come off as him being racist. It always comes off as him making a joke.
Yep, yeah. Not directing it at anyone, just making a joke about it. You know? And, that's the thing. That's really like the only exception I can see where like you could actually convict a comedian of something, of actually believing in what they say, is like when they do crowd work, because most of that is definitely going to be improv because you can't anticipate. Some comedians, they do have like one-liners, like, you know,
it's kind of like set up.
Yeah, set up
like
one-liners.
When somebody just says something, you're like,
yeah,
like you just know, like you know somebody's gonna say something, so you're like, you just have it in the back of your head, like,
yeah, like I wish your mom pulled out or whatever, or your dad pulled out. Your mom. What? Your mom pulled out.
Anyway, shut up. It's funny, right?
Yeah. Shut up. Don't worry about it. No. But yeah, that's like the only way I think a comedian could really be like somebody could pin him down about that. Pin somebody down about that.
Pin them down on the ground and say, "Shut up."
Fuck. No.
I knew you were racist.
But yeah, that should be. I'm sure a lot of people know about it too. Like you can't cherry pick jokes and just like write about it without context and like reading it from the script. You can, like, but nobody like.
I just think like it. Again, I understand some people will like. They're like they shouldn't have joked about that. Like some things, sure, I kind of see it. Like if it depends on the time, I guess sometimes like
it's
if you're
the timing
about, like,
of a joke.
If it's like you're joking about a shooting that just happened a couple of days ago, maybe not the best thing to joke about.
Yeah,
people are still hurting.
Like I remember hearing about from Tom Segura on a podcast. He was doing a joke up in like Canada about Hurricane Katrina. What was it? Oh, fuck, I can't remember the joke. It was I can't remember for the life of me. But it was a pretty offensive joke. It was
because it was very recent, right?
It was recent at the time, yeah. And he opened with that joke too. So that's definitely not going to be set up in your favor.
Yeah, it might not have been the...
Yeah.
I don't know, like current stuff like that. Like when it's like, I don't know.
But it's weird because comedians also like, they do like jokes about like rape and the Me Too movement. And like, sure, it gets backlash, like, but it's mostly online. Like most people understand.
I feel there's a difference between like people watching it after, like when you're in the audience at the time, most people are just gonna clap along and enjoy it because that's what they paid to go see.
Yep. Yeah.
And I feel like people online like, or in hindsight, like there are plenty of comedy specials. You go back and you're like, ooh, that's like kind of iffy. Like if it's like maybe a bit too close to the sun there, Icarus, like. Yeah. Maybe don't make that joke, especially because like we have had like the Me Too movement and we have like different opinions on like what is okay and what's not.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I'm always pro like comedy pushing those borders.
Yeah,
but there is an edge. There is a line that sometimes you cross it, and I think like if it's in the case of comedy, like if you cross it, should just kind of be like, you made a bad joke.
Okay, so
don't do it again.
There is that, but then that also kind of falls back onto the point of like, okay, I made this joke and everybody's getting offended about it because it was recent, but I also made this joke that was probably equally as bad or even more bad.
Well, and not just that. I'm just saying that there is a certain line in comedy that I don't think people should put your head on a fucking pike if you cross it by accident.
No, they shouldn't be like, oh, this is the worst person in the world. It shouldn't be like
somebody is like demonized because they made a joke, it didn't land because it just wasn't, it crossed that line.
Yeah.
If it crossed the line, tell them you crossed the line. Just don't make that
even
joke.
If they cross the line, I don't think they should be labeled as anything because in comedy that's kind of the natural way of things is you push the line.
People are going to like, again, it's going to happen no matter, like people are going to push that line, and there is a certain edge to like where people can handle it, and sometimes, and again, certain things need to be pushed in order for there to be progress. I agree.
Yeah. Well,
and again,
that's just the I don't think there's a way to comedy.
Like. It's not okay to just demonize people over something like that.
Yeah.
Again, there's a difference between a joke and what a person genuinely believes.
Yeah.
People will make racist fucking jokes all the time, but they won't ever be like, "Oh yeah, I hate black people."
Yeah. It's just a matter of.
And again, like I said, don't put somebody's head on a fucking pike because they made a joke that was offensive.
Well, like specifically to them, too.
Yeah. Well, again, like even if it's just an objectively, which again, objectively they are offensive jokes. That's the point.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it, though. Because
and if it hits something with you personally, it's like, it's okay to feel that way.
And when comedians write jokes like these, and they obviously have it in mind that it's not for everybody.
Yeah, but again, like if it does make that, again, I don't think it's fair to be like, you're just overly sensitive. Some things will push people's buttons because, again, they feel personal about that. And it's not fair to be like, your feelings are wrong.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Everything is within reason on both sides. Because the thing is like, comedians are going to push that boundary, and you have a point in saying, like, there are people going to be offended about it. But then what seems to be also a consistent problem is that people take it too far when they actually... in their reaction to labeling being offended by these jokes.
I feel like reaction on both sides are usually pretty poor. Because one person will be like, this is really offensive. And it's not a funny joke. I don't think we should laugh about it. And then people go, fuck off, you fucking snowflake.
Yeah.
It's like, if people feel that way, again,
There's also
just
when people
discourse, not just yelling at each other.
Yeah, when people there's context in people who do get offended in those jokes. Like maybe they had a bad experience, like with rape or or alcoholism.
When I went to my sister's graduation at the university, the person that was speaking made like an offhanded joke about suicide.
Yeah,
like there was a speaker there who's like kind of a comedian. Mm-hmm. She made an offhanded joke about suicide. My sister's friend was like, that wasn't cool. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, she didn't like go up and talk to her or like say it like on.
But she's entitled to have that opinion.
Okay. If you feel that way, yeah, and you could have a conversation about it afterwards. I don't think she meant anything by it. Or again, like why does that make you feel so like what is the reason for it? And should we like there's again discourse versus yelling.
Yeah. Keeping it tame and having
like if Jim Jeffries did come out and say black people are lazy motherfuckers, like if he had just said that without like the context, you'd be like, okay, he's racist.
Yeah.
Or like you have like the conversation of like, was that racist? Was it a joke? Versus Jim Jeffries is super racist, or Jim Jeffries hates other ethnicities or whatever.
Yeah. Well, like, and then that comes into a play of social media and comedians too, because it's hard for a comedian to get past their jokes on social media because if you had somebody who just some random Joe Blow that doesn't know about this comedian, they're coming to see this very controversial comment they made on social media, then it's definitely going to be taken out of context more than something that's on an actual special or like a video of them doing it.
Because and the one thing I do want to just say, it also depends on the person. Like I think it depends. Like again, if it's just somebody who's like, I think it is a thing like where unless they are an established comedian, if people say like the same type of jokes, people will take it way more harshly than if it's like a well-known comedian saying it. Yeah. Like if they're an up-and-coming comedian and if people just know that their career is comedian, people are they're gonna it's a joke. Yeah. Versus just some like fucking troll or shit.
Oh yeah, or like an actor who's known to play funny roles says something funny on like social media.
If their like profession is comedy, people tend to be like, that's more okay versus someone random saying something. Like if they make like the same offhand joke, they're probably gonna get a lot more backlash then.
But then again, you also have those people who don't even know that, who are like, oh, they're a comedian, but they're saying this shit on social media, and they kind of take it directly, and they say like, oh, he's saying this in the moment, like, oh, this is offensive, and they don't know context behind it.
But it could be that way too. They could honestly be just sharing their opinions. It is hard. Again, reading it is hard.
Yeah.
When it's just read without the words beforehand, like this is a joke, or this is commentary. Again, it's hard to tell when you're just reading it.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Because anybody can take their own context from that. When they're saying it and it's in front of an audience of people, you're like, it's a comedy. Yeah, it's a joke.
And I think comedians should also know better and they definitely should expect, if they're going to say something like that on social media, they should expect the people who are.
And they probably should be like and they should be the people that are like least offended by people being offended by their jokes. Mm-hmm. They should just be like, yeah, I know there's going to be backlash no matter what I say. Yeah. So just own it. Yeah. And just be like, and again, like when people ask you about it later, just be like, it's comedy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like if you have to defend yourself, just say it's comedy. But if you know it's going to be offensive towards people, backtrack and be like, guys, it is just comedy. Get over yourselves. It's like, no, that's not a good response either.
No, yeah. Or like people, it's not even like it immediately becomes a shit joke when you have to make a disclaimer at the end. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I'm just joking, guys. JK, whatever. It's I know. So that's kind of a weird gray area that I think comedians probably ride in a way.
Like I said, there is a line that people are willing to tolerate. Yeah. And like that line.
Oh, that goes with anything.
That line wavers between person to person.
Oh yeah,
I feel like there is a general line that people can consider like, oh, this was obviously a joke. Even if they didn't like the joke or they're offended, they could say it was a joke. I just didn't like it. Yeah. And then there's like when you cross that line, it's like that is not a joke anymore. That is something else.
Yeah, I can definitely
like
say,
the Kramer example.
Yeah,
it just seems like he was being racist.
A big line that he crossed.
He was just. It just seems like he was being overtly racist.
Yeah,
and trying to mask it as a joke.
And there
afterwards.
are definitely comedians that I like that also say really controversial shit. And I know it's a joke, and I know if like they were being serious about it, I'd be like, fuck no. Like that would not be something cool to say just in conversation as like a serious thing. I mean, but it's comedy. So like Bill Burr is definitely a prime example of that.
And again, like I don't like Bill Burr that much, but like
I think it's kind of funny. His like he definitely the way he
definitely
presents a joke. It's like he has a no shit attitude about it,
which is fine. Like if you're gonna do that, then if he's not like complaining about it afterwards that people thought he was being offensive, and it's like fair enough. Like he knows what he's doing, and he's going full into it. If he were to like complain afterwards, like, why are people being so serious about it? I was only talking about how Rihanna got beat the fuck out of her.
Well, no, and then that also shows like
that. Like at least he's being consistent.
Well, yeah, like, and then that's also exemplary of like a lot of comedians who have been in the business for a long time. You know, somebody who's resistant, and they understand that there's going to be backlash, and they understand that what they're saying is controversial, and that they're not going to be bitching about it online or whatever, like, why are people getting offended? Because they know that's going to happen, and they know they're probably going to get in hot water.
Right, and I can respect that. Again, like, and then it also, like, it's worse when somebody makes that joke and then just keeps backtracking, trying to be like, guys, I'm not, like, just basically, like, making, or...
I'd even make the argument that kind of shows that you're a weaker comedian in a way.
Or you're not going to stand by, like, what... Like, if Bill Burr was like, I made a joke, I thought it was funny. Yeah. And if you didn't think it was funny, then yeah.
Yeah, because that's generally how comedy should work. And it's
fair. If it was a joke he made, people... And again, other people thought it was hilarious. Like, I saw the bit, people were like, yeah, this is funny. Like, people were laughing at it.
Yeah.
So obviously it works for some people. Some stuff doesn't work for me. I'm like... Kind of for me, like, crosses the line from, like, not being as funny anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, that... Like, Bill Burr's just one of those people where I'm like...
Yeah, it's definitely a taste sort of thing. Like,
his tastes are not the same taste that I
And there are those people that, like... They're, like...
Just funny because I fucking love Jim Jeffries, but it's also very similar to that. It's
exactly.
Very crude.
Yeah, I think it's...
but he has an Australian accent, so...
Yeah, it's definitely the background and the persona that they put on. Because, like, it can also be separated, like, oh, I like these comedians because, one, either, like, I like their jokes, two, I like... how they present their jokes and their demeanor overall. But then there's also like there's a nice mix of it. Like Jim Jeffries is a prime example of a good mix because like having that Australian accent, like I don't know, I think like in the background of being an Australian,
reason, it just makes it funnier.
It does because like like you kind of when you think of Australia, hold on a second. When you think of Australia as like kind of as like their culture or like where they're from, they sound like these like kind of tough people that live in a fucking like, you know, wasteland. Like why would you want to live there? Like and then they have that like kind of like they have that humble attitude about things, like whatever, you know, they play things down. I don't think
Jim Jeffries is as humble, but again,
no, he isn't that humble, but he takes on that persona
a bit,
of like
it's just the cliche of the Australian,
like plays down fucking, big bad stuff.
Who's the what's the popular one? Kangaroo Dungey or
what do you mean?
What's the movie?
Crocodile Dundee.
Yes.
Yeah.
That idea.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the idea of
the
like,
rough and tough.
Australians
but then that could be like also like the Hollywood rendition.
Well, no, but that's like what you think of when you think.
Yeah, that is that is what you think of. Yeah,
that's your interpretation.
But he's a nice mix because it's the way they delivers jokes. Because if you said his jokes with an American accent, like they definitely wouldn't come off as funny. They lose their impact. They lose their impact, and then also he's pretty clever in the raunchiness and cleverness of how.
But it does change because me and my sister think Jim Jeffries is really funny.
Yeah.
My parents listened to it. They didn't think it was that funny. They were like, whatever. Yeah. My mom was actually kind of like cringing at his jokes.
Really?
Yeah.
My parents are kind of the same way. But the thing is I don't think they understand that a lot of comedy nowadays can be raunchy and they swear.
Well, like, no, I don't think they have an issue with the... Well, my mom doesn't like...
there's definitely like the George Carlin generation of comedians, like the comedians that take after him. I think there's a lot of the older generation that doesn't understand that because the thing is at the time his jokes at the time were really controversial. Like comedy definitely was not taken to that extent when.
But I even think my mom probably would be fine with George Carlin. I think she just I think like the amount of like jerk off jokes he make was probably what she was like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But I get, it's fine. Like it is kind of like toilet humor, but like other jokes were like more clever than just that. But he does make a lot of just like kind of toilet humor jokes.
Yeah,
I think it's funny, but I understand why other people wouldn't. Like I'm not gonna be offended if somebody's like, I think Jim Jeffries is stupid. I'd be like, all right,
that's fine. Yeah, whatever.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't care for Bill Burr, but you don't hate me for it.
Yeah. I mean, I can see like how a lot of people don't like Bill Burr because he kind of fits that persona of like, the macho white guy that, like nobody really likes him. Like a lot of the progressive culture.
People really like who's the guy who dated Ariana Grande?
Oh, Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson, right. I don't like his comedy that much.
Really?
I've seen some of his stand-up stuff and I'm like, I don't care.
I can see that, yeah.
Like I've only seen a few bits, but the bits I have seen, I'm like, he doesn't seem that funny to me.
Yeah, he definitely.
But other people love him, and I'm like, fair enough. Like sure, go for it.
I think it's the way that his comedy is, because he has a lot of shorter jokes.
True.
When he first started off, he had a lot of short jokes.
But also a lot of his jokes seem kind of just like basic to me. Like I've heard like the really like off the wall like crazy shit. Or like like what the really off-colored jokes are.
He's not relatable in a way. He's not as a comedian goes. Like how he presents jokes is not.
I think he's he's more relatable as in like I understand like what he's talking about, but I just don't think the way he presents it is very interesting. Like that's the big thing. Like where people have said, you can if you tell a shit joke well and get a huge amount of laughs. You can tell a really good joke, but if you tell it poorly, nobody will laugh.
Yeah, the delivery is very
delivery
important.
Is pretty much. I don't think Pete Davidson has a good delivery.
Okay, yeah. I could see that, yeah.
But again, people will disagree with me. Some people will be like, I think he's really funny.
Yeah, I agree, because I like his, like... I think if because I've definitely built up a taste over time of, like, what comedians I really like. And then again, I'm also kind of... I like to branch out and... whatnot, and
I also think like, I mean, I like George Carlin kind of, but I also think some of his jokes are, I think, basic now in comparison to like some of the stuff I've heard.
Oh yeah, no, it's just the way the aggressive, like very standoffish, offensive way that he delivers his jokes is definitely like.
But it's funny because like, so some people were like, oh yeah, George Carlin was like really like ahead of his time in like the offensive jokes. Some jokes are offensive now than they were at the time because they just don't age well. Like, what's his name? Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, one of his biggest jokes was being like a Ugandan with AIDS. And like nowadays, that's kind of like, ooh, like that's not. And like, but at the time, people thought it was really funny because it was kind of like a stereotype that like was funny.
Yeah.
But like you listen to it now, like he made a lot of like gay jokes, which like nowadays are kind of like. Like riding that edge of like you get it's a joke, but at the same time it's like because at the time you could be like, but he also could have just didn't care about gay people.
Yeah.
And thought it was like funny to laugh at.
Well, and yeah, I mean, and I, in a way, like, in no way am I saying like I agree with the way.
But I'm not.
There's definitely a more, there's more sensitivity around a lot of the things that a lot of the older comedians used to joke about back in the day. Like, there's definitely, like, when you see these jokes, you gotta appreciate that this was a different time period,
right?
You know? Like,
which is, like, that's why it's like back then it was probably acceptable to make those jokes. Nowadays it's kind of like a weird thing.
You're
like
riding a line in a way,
like a harder line now than back then.
Yeah.
But like back then, if they were talking about like jerking off, it feels like that would have like crossed the line somehow.
Yeah. Definitely.
Whereas nowadays, like that's kind of like most people's jokes.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they make that. I just like in a way I definitely like appeal to the raunchy jokes, and I think that's really in comparison to a lot of the people around me. Like I think that's very exclusive to what I feel. A lot of people could be the same way.
You and I make very similar jokes.
We do make a lot of similar jokes because, I mean, we also watch, like...
We watch a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, like Game Grumps was also a big thing of us. Like, because we make a lot of the same, like gay lines in a way, like gay tease lines, like, and that Game Grumps definitely has a history of doing that.
It's just the type of comedy we grew up with is what's rubbed off on us.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and that's why, like, we make the same.
Fuck, man, I'm so hungry right now.
Oh, we can get some food. We can end this pot. We've been going for almost 2 hours.
Damn! Wow. And
so this is a long ass podcast.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy the way this turned out.
Hopefully, it doesn't sound like shit.
Yeah.
Finally, all of you out there better fucking appreciate this.
Yeah. Better get, like,
also,
at least...
You also shouldn't care to appreciate it because we shouldn't have just been that bad.
Yeah.
Like, the most basic thing was, like, whenever people talk about, like, I watch a fuck ton of videos and people are like, oh yeah, the first thing I want to do is EQ a mic. I never did that. I was like, I have the recording software. I have good mics. Why doesn't it sound good? It's stupid.
What's EQing the mic?
What we just did.
Oh, basically just fine-tuning.
Yeah.
I see.
Listening to it, changing the settings.
Yeah.
Because I was always like, I'll always do it in post. It'll just be easier. Yeah. And every time I got to post, I was like, this sounds like shit.
Yeah.
Like, why does it sound like shit? How do I fix it? And people are like, well, you don't fix it. You're supposed to, like, do it beforehand. I'm like, but why? Why? This is too much work for me. I don't want to do this shit. I was really considering, like, maybe I need to get, like, a curtain that surrounds us.
Yeah. And you're like, that was the first thing you went to.
And then I was like, why don't I just listen to the mics and adjust them? Yeah. And then I did that, and now hopefully they sound fine.
I'm surprised, actually. That took you, it was a lot shorter of a time than, like, previously. Because you also have done, like, EQing the mic in the past, and, like, you spent at least half an hour on that.
Usually that's because we have a lot of, like, again.
Then again, that was software that you didn't.
We have fine-tuned it to getting good, decent enough software. Yeah. Where it can record I can't believe how hard it was to fucking record 2 mics at once.
On, what was it?
Before, we used Elgato. Yep. Elgato doesn't record.
Well, before you did that, you also did Action. With the very early
super earliest, I used Action. Yeah. One person would use Action. One person would use Audition on, like, a laptop. Yep. Then I tried recording audio on just a laptop. Yeah. That didn't work out, yeah. Then I would just try to record audio, one laptop, one Elgato, or one Action, one Elgato, one. Yeah. It was super confusing. A lot of that hasn't been uploaded because I just am so fucking lazy and I don't edit videos very often.
Well, you might get some time now since
I can finally get some time.
That's what I was looking for.
We recorded Outlast back in October.
Oh my god.
We have not uploaded a single episode of that. I feel like I should.
So much material.
I feel like I should, like, upload this first. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, like, our other.
It'll be easy to upload this because you don't have to do.
It is just audio and then maybe, like, a couple graphics here and there. Yeah. Super simple. Yeah.
You have to cut some things out. But
the biggest issue was, so I finally got, like, Audition, and I was like, Audition will fix all of our problems. We can do so much with Audition.
Yeah, and then it became way too overcomplicated.
I had to download drivers. I had to download software. I had to download other shit. I had to use different fucking connections to record 2 microphones at once.
Oh, and then some microphones didn't work, too. Like, didn't work that well.
It's so angry when I think about it.
You guys don't understand how much pain Garrick is communicating.
You don't understand how long this podcast is probably taking us to, like, just make decent.
Yeah. Oh man.
The decent audio behind this probably has taken over a year and a half. Yeah. To fucking just get working. Yeah. Because all I had to do, download Voice Meter Banana. Mm-hmm. And it just worked.
Yeah. It just works.
It just fucking worked. I'm, like, seizing with anger thinking about all the other shit I've done before. Because you don't understand how long. Aaron would come over. Oh, man. And I'd be like, okay, I'm ready to go. I just need to, like, do a couple things here. 2 hours later, I'd be like, we can record.
I fucking. It's just bad times to think back on. Like, I would be sitting there for, like, an hour. I'd try to, like, recommend something to Gary. Be like, shut up, Aaron.
No, here's where you're like, maybe you just need to, like, I've already fucking done that, Aaron. Yeah. Shut up. I'm like, Aaron, whatever you're thinking now, Stop it. I know what I'm doing.
This is pointless.
I know
what you're bringing up.
Everything you brought up, it's fucking pointless. I know what I'm doing.
Like, well, I guess I won't talk then.
And then we're just like in a really bad mood when we actually record.
It's just sour mood.
Yeah, like we'd have
nothing.
They
definitely didn't do anything to help.
We'd have like
content.
nothing to talk about afterwards. I'd just be like, and every time I'd be like, I finally fixed the audio issue. And I'm doing that even to this day. I finally fixed the audio issue. Oh my God. I swear to God, next week we're going to come back, or I'm going to listen to this audio and be like, it's still shit.
Yeah, just like, yeah.
Gonna fucking pull my hair out.
When you listen to this podcast audio, you're probably just gonna come in your pants. So you're like, oh my God.
It might not even be good. There's gonna be like a thing, like I'm just gonna be like, it's still there.
Oh, well, I mean, dude, the way we
did EQ, we did some stuff beforehand to finally try, because
we did some recon.
I even had Aaron listen. For once, I had Aaron listen to the audio.
Yes, he finally let me do something for once.
all Aaron did was just listen, and he was like, it sounds a little bit better.
Yeah.
And honestly, it doesn't come through until I get into like Audition and I start looking at like, because the biggest issue is for whatever reason, and it might even pop up on this one, I keep echoing on both mics.
Yeah.
I had no idea why.
That was a big issue.
Like Aaron's mic,
perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. My mic, you hear my mic, and then you hear it on Aaron's mic.
I just realized it might have been the mics that we bought, just entirely, because this is the first time we've used.
Well, here's the weird thing about that is because we had those two mics originally. When I first had those two mics they were synced up fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. Like they synced up just fine. They didn't sound weird. Didn't sound distorted.
And it went to shit.
And then I think like just either changing software or like one mic just kind of like deteriorated or one mic was just built differently, because I also said that like they're really cheap mics. They aren't like they're probably not
like
$20
mics or whatever.
They're like $25.
Yeah.
And I was considering buying new mics for this, and I was like, I'm being really stupid. I have two good mics.
Perfectly good, yeah.
This is $50. That's like $100.
Yeah.
These should be good enough.
Yeah.
More than good enough.
Yeah.
I just need to like not fuck around and just try to like listen to them.
Well, yeah, it was just, I don't think we put that as in hindsight, I don't think we put that together.
Is so stupid. Honestly, I'm just gonna put all this blame on me because I really was just being stupid. Everything just said, before you record, EQ your mics, see how they sound. And every time, like, whenever, I think I was just so jazzed I could get two mics recorded.
It's not the fucking problem. The problem is this one specific thing.
Yeah, I was like, it's not that I'm lazy and I just don't edit.
Yeah.
Or, like, I don't, like, adjust the mics beforehand. I was just like, no, it's something with the mics. The mics are fucked up. It's not me. It's the mics. The software works.
So many times, Red, like, you told me, like, I asked you, like, okay, are you sure we shouldn't do something about this? And you're like, no, I'll just fix it in post. And then I asked you, like, a couple days later, how'd that video turn out? You're like, oh, it's fucking shit. I don't know. I can't. I deleted the video. I'm like,
it happens so, because every time we, like, record it, I was so confident in my abilities. Because in Audition, you can do a lot to fix audio.
Yep.
I was just so overly confident that, like, if you just get shit audio to begin with, it's gonna continue to just kind of, like, sound like shit. Yeah. No matter how many filters, no matter how much you EQ it, no matter how much you, like, modify it, there can just be something in the base audio you just can't remove.
Yeah.
Without, like, doing a hard, like, I have done stuff, like, where I've done hard scrubs of audio, like, literally, like, erasing, like, not erasing, but, like, going through specific bits and, like, reducing or improving the quality, like, one at a time throughout the entire video.
Yeah.
And then I listen to it and I'm like, now it just sounds weird and distorted, like, for whatever reason, like, I go quieter, and then for other reasons I go louder. I'm like, this doesn't sound good.
It definitely pays off to just
it's not consistent, so it sounds weird.
The work beforehand.
And I never realized before, because all I cared about before was, like, how does the video look? Video looks great. It doesn't matter how the audio sounds. And I kind of realized people are going to click off a video way faster if the audio sounds like shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you go into a video and, like, the audio, like, even, like, kind of slightly weird, you're like, I don't want to listen to this.
Yeah.
Even if the video is, like, fucking whatever. I cared so hard. I was also like, I want a super powerful PC so nobody's like, graphics look like shit.
Yeah.
What are you running this on, a potato? I'm like, no, I'm running it on. But nobody cares the fuck about what the graphics look like.
Have you noticed recently, I don't know why, but for some reason nowadays, like specifically really recently, big YouTubers have been kind of like slacking on their audio quality lately. Like I've been seeing some really recent PewDiePie videos, I don't think he uses any like pop filter.
I think it's like I think it happened. Well, the thing is, I think people kind of like change their setups, or they move around a bit, or like they just like were recording in different conditions. Because audio, it really is like the type. Probably the most like inconsistent thing you can record with.
Yeah.
Because like you can have like a
definitely why a lot of people when they do something regularly with audio, they have a designated room for it. I mean, obviously.
Right. And like they probably don't think about it that much. Because again, a lot of people. Here's the thing. Even if your video's crap, even if your audio's crap, if your personality is just that good, people will watch.
Yeah.
So, and people, like, you get some of the people that are going to complain, like, why is the video running at, like, 45 frames a second versus 60?
Yeah.
Why is it running like this? Why does your audio sound, like, kind of teeny?
Yeah.
There are going to be so few of those people.
Yeah.
Unless, like, your video is just that horrendous. But even then, if you have a personality people like, they're going to watch or they're going to listen.
Yep. Yeah.
So personality supersedes all of it. I'd say audio is the second most important thing. So you and I still have like personality to work on. I think we aren't like the most like dynamic people. Really. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we are outside of like when we're recording. Like, we have like those moments where we're like bouncing off each other.
I think there's also like if you do a little bit of research behind like what you're talking about,
like what we did today,
it comes off a lot better because there's a lot more flow to it, because we know at least one person knows about it more, and there's stuff to feed off of,
right?
You know, so like you knew a lot about the topics at hand, and like I was kind of the reacting persona,
and we recorded for 2 hours.
Yeah, and see how far that goes. Yeah.
Honestly, we've had times like where we tried the podcast thing, we got like 30 minutes in, we had nothing else to talk about, and we're like, we still have another half hour to go.
Yeah, we're just like, shit. How's the weather?
Yeah, we're just like, oh, so how's it going, bud?
Yeah.
And we're just like, this is not a good video.
Yeah.
Like we get like those certain like vibes where we're like, we can talk. Also, I have an issue where I like to talk more.
Mm.
I just do.
Yeah.
I like to listen to my own voice. I will not apologize. Fuck all y'all.
Fuck y'all.
I like to listen to my own voice sometimes because I think I sound okay. Although today I sound like shit because I'm sick.
Nah, you don't sound that different.
I also hate I like to hear myself talk because I like to talk to myself a lot. And I'm like, I sound
out loud when you're alone?
Yes.
Actually, I do too. When I'm like shitting on myself.
Happens a lot more when I'm in the car.
Yeah.
Like I just run through like conversation in my head, and it's easier to like speak it versus just thinking it.
Yep.
Because then I can actually hear how it sounds.
Yeah. I do that at work when I fuck up. Like the other day, I was doing something and I was getting something from my boss, and the thing is like I'm constantly, when I go to work, I kind of go on autopilot, so I automatically don't think through things. So I kind of feel like I'm stupid because of that, in a way, just because like the obvious things don't seem so obvious to me, because I'm like in that mentality like, okay, I don't even want to think right now. I just want to get work done with and get over with it. And so I was getting something from my boss, and then the bricklayer who I was working in a basement, and this bricklayer was putting brick in around this fireplace, and he turned around, he's like, hey, can you get something for me? I'm like, okay, what is it? And at the time, in my defense, when he said it, I couldn't hear him that well, so I didn't really know what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. But then what happened was he wanted an outlet cover to because there was an outlet right next to the fireplace that he was working on, and he was like, hey, can you get this for me? And he pointed down to it, like the general area of where it is. Right. And I'm like looking, and I'm like, oh fuck, where is it? And I kept picking up things, and he's like, oh no, that's not it. And so like I probably picked up like
that isn't it. No,
that isn't it. Oh no,
no, that's no. Yes.
That is not it. You stupid fuck. But I at least picked up like 2 or 3 different things, and he was like, no, you're looking at it, and then he like said it again, and he said plastic. I'm like, oh, it must be this, and he's like, oh, it's not that. And then my work partner Gary comes in, and he's like, oh, it's right there, and he points and he picks it up and he gives it to me. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. And they like, dude, and then like after that happened,
I get that a million times at my work because there's a lot that we have to do.
And like
but yeah, you could
in hindsight, like when I think about it, I'm like, okay, well, it wasn't that bad, Aaron, because like you couldn't hear what he wanted clearly, so you have to like
contempora or whatever the word. I can't think of the fucking word.
Yeah, you have to like work out your defense.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like you feel like you have to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's like, why were you being so stupid? It's like, there was a lot of things. Yeah. He wasn't being that loud. He wasn't like that. Again, like, I go through the same thing, like, whenever I kind of fuck up, like, at my job.
Yeah.
Like, you always feel like you have to make a defense, even though, like, nobody's asking you to.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like, because people are like, you just fucked up, and it's like, it happens.
Well, also, like, specifically in a work environment, you're always in a mindset, and then when somebody shift gears immediately, you're just like, you're kind of already set to fuck up.
Yeah, I also feel like at my job specifically, people tend to kind of like emphasize people fucking up.
Oh, they do?
Like,
they point it out a little more?
Yeah, like there's like a lady at our work who kind of makes mistakes a lot, and I'm guilty of this too. I kind of say like, I don't understand how she makes a simple mistake like that.
Yeah.
But again, I do it too.
Yeah.
There are so many times like where I fucked up on simple things because I just I didn't ask a question. So like again, I'm like frontline receptionist at a hospital. Yeah. I schedule appointments. Sometimes, so the worst of it, somebody calls you, it's poor audio quality, and they don't speak very good English.
Yeah.
You just have to, and like I have a coworker, she gets plenty of calls like that too, but because she has a certain personality, she just works through it. Like she just, even if the patient gets mad, which happens sometimes, like they're just like, why aren't you understanding what I'm saying? And I'm like,
my God.
I'm like, dude, if you could just like sit in my spot for a second and listen to yourself, you would understand why I'm having such an issue. But you have to work through that.
Yeah.
It's not that you can't be mad at the patient. They don't know.
Yeah. You don't, exactly. It's just the way, it's just kind of how,
like you have
your situation.
Yeah, you have to just think about it in the moment and just be like, you just have to like go through it.
Yeah, don't think about how you're fucking up, but try to improve the situation and like ask.
Yeah, and it's really hard because like, for me, like I do the same thing. I try to defend myself where I'm just like, I'm like, it's not my fault. It's like, no, it's not anybody's fault. It's just how it goes.
When they were training you for their job, did they say like not to say I can't hear you that well because it like basically says
no. So they didn't say anything like that, but like I have told people, I'm like, oh, it's just really bad reception. Like sometimes it is just genuinely bad reception.
Yeah.
And it's like there was a lady who was just calling me like a couple days ago, and like she was going in and out. She's like, I want for Friday.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you repeat that? She's like, yeah, I want go in.
Oh God.
I'm like, and I just told her, I'm like, sorry, this is really bad reception. I can't understand what you're saying. She's like, call back, and just hung up.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, so hopefully, and then she did call back, and it was much better. So I was like, okay, can work it out. But it is hard to say that to some people. Like when it's somebody who's like, a foreign accent is the hardest.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't really be like, why can't you speak English? A lot of times they're like, why can't you understand me? I'm like,
well, not to state the obvious, but
yeah, like it's
hard.
The favorite example I bring up was when somebody was spelling out their name and they're like, E as in apple.
Oh, that's not good.
I was like, what? Like literally, that's what they said. Mm-hmm. No joke. They were like, E as an apple. I'm like,
oh no.
Okay, so it's an A. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, no, they didn't misspell apple. It is just A. They just can't say it.
I as in stupid.
No, they're not stupid.
No,
again, like
I'm
you
kidding,
can't blame them
kidding.
for it. It's how it is. No. And like, again, as frontline, it does feel like, again, because also like our bosses kind of go like, you made a mistake. Why did this happen? And then it feels like you have to make a
the
defense,
customer's always right in a way. Like
sort of.
You don't want to blame.
In a couple ways, they are kind of just like.
Yeah.
Again, our job is very much like nobody's really at blame because honestly, nobody knows what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Like seriously, we get calls all the time where somebody's like, "You need to do this."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, do we do that?
Yeah.
Like people call like, I need to schedule this. I'm like, okay. every time a patient calls, because we get the wrong calls all the fucking time there.
Yep.
People call and they're just like, hey, I need to schedule an appointment. I'm like, I'm not going to say what department I'm like, with our department. And they're like, I'm looking for ears, nose, and throat. Okay, I have to transfer you. This is not the right department. Like, I always try to ask that question beforehand. Like, if they call and they say, like, I want to schedule an appointment with this doctor, and it's one of our doctors, I'm like, all right, good deal. They know who they need to see.
Yeah, exactly. They've already done that. And, but yeah, the directory sort of work that you do, like putting people in the right, putting them on the right track. Yeah.
And it's always like, and like, our front line, it's always treated like, well, you guys just have to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
some ways you gotta do it, yeah.
Like, we just have to do it.
Yeah.
If we don't understand it, we have to ask, but we don't like to ask because it kind of makes us feel like we're stupid.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how I feel. Like, if I get a fax and I'm like, the worst is when somebody comes into like our department and they're like, where is this? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're like, where is X-ray? I'm like, I've never been anywhere else in this hospital except right here.
Yeah.
Like, I've not traveled out of this hospital. My coworker kind of knows like where everything is. She's just been there for a while and kind of like, just knows.
Yep.
But I don't.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes me look really stupid when I just kind of like look at her.
And then you can't really use like the new excuse because like...
Yeah, I've been there for a while now. It's like...
They kind of expect you to know these things.
Yeah, like I just look at her, I'm like...
Oh, man.
Do you know? And she's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, that's when I feel like an idiot. Yeah. I'm like, logically, I should know. But nowhere in my job has anybody ever told me, you need to know where these things are. Or have they've never told me this is where these are.
Yeah, exactly. I've always, actually, I can empathize with you in a way. And there is something to be said about working over the phone in a way. Because there, and it being particularly difficult. And I'm sure, like, customer service people get this all the fucking time. But I know this isn't exactly, like, par for par what you do as today. But when I used to work at Jimmy John's, actually, there was a bit of a over-the-phone work involved. Like... So there were 3 tiers of customer interaction when I worked at Jimmy John's. There was obviously the register, which was super easy because you could ask somebody, in right away and you could see their facial expression and whatnot, and they knew that like the situation that you were in. So that wasn't that hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Drive-through wasn't that hard either. It was a little bit harder because there was a technical aspect to it, like having to push the right button on your headset, intercom, and like getting
the voice
people...
quality is like... Yeah. Sometimes iffy.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is like, it was all the same register situation, ringing people up, and it wasn't that hard because like, if they needed something, they could ask when they pulled up to the window. Mm-hmm. The fucking hard part that I really did not want to get into early on was taking delivery phone calls. And the reason being was because the interface, like trying to ring up people's information and stuff like that. Right. And the thing is Jimmy John's is already an inherently fast-paced work environment. So you're like, your mind's going everywhere. Like, oh, I got to take reg, I got to take drive-through, I got to do these little tasks in between, and then jump online as well and make sandwiches. Yeah. And so
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah. You're basically being taken.
We're not making sandwiches, but like,
you're being pulled.
You check somebody in.
You're being pulled in different directions constantly.
Yeah, and then you get back on the phone, and then like you have 3 people like on the backlog that need to like get their stuff handled.
Exactly.
And you're just like, I don't. And like again, you get plenty of calls. I get plenty of calls where I literally am just like, I don't know what you need.
Yep. Yeah.
And the patient doesn't know either because all they know is that somebody's like, you need to schedule this, and they're like, I guess I need to schedule it, and then they call us, and I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yep.
I don't know what department that's for. I don't know what doctor that's for. I don't know anything about this. You are somebody I've never met nor talked to. Mm-hmm. And even if you are, I deal with at least 20, 30 people a day over the phones.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would deal with more if I was there longer. I only work half days right now because of school.
Yeah.
But I deal with like 20, 30 people on the phones every day. Mm-hmm. I deal with fucking 50 faxes every day that I get in. Luckily, I don't have to check in very many people anymore because I work kind of like in the back because I have school and I have to leave halfway to the day. So.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't want to put you in the busy work necessarily.
Yeah, if I have to like do all the busy work, it's going to be just really hectic, especially like when I have to believe.
Yep.
Because then they'll just kind of leave like one person doing all the work by themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like, that makes sense. And
as you were saying, like you get like the phone calls and you have to
like I experienced that whole thing, like the fucking up and everything. Like I remember one order specifically, they had to call in like one of the drivers, the delivery drivers we had that was currently out there. They had to pull from one of the in-shop workers, and they're like, "Oh, you need to go make this delivery right now." And so I did the phone call for this, and when I started doing phone, I was working there at least like a month in, so I wasn't fresh.
Right.
When you work at Jimmy John's, they train you in really fast.
Right.
So, but I waited this long really to take a phone call, and the thing is like, I think I fucked up.
Same situation with me.
Yeah, I think I fucked up on like the notes, like because there's a little section where like you make like, oh, deliver it to this floor or deliver it to this certain area of the building or the place.
Right.
And so I didn't get that right, and they came back and they're like, you need to like designate that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like this is the main reason why, because it's so much information. First off, like getting people's, like credit card numbers, security code, their name, the address, getting that right, all that stuff, getting that all sorted out first and foremost. And it's just so hard.
Yeah, it is never fun being that person that, especially like when you do fuck up, you have no excuse for it. You're just like, I just fucked up.
Yeah.
And like people, like the worst is when people like are genuinely affected by it.
Yeah.
Like I had one person, like I had a patient that came in. I was dealing with like phones and faxes at the same time while I was checking them in.
Yeah.
And I didn't check them in fully.
Mm-hmm.
So normally like when you don't check somebody in, like somebody kind of like the nurses will come up to like, has this person checked in yet or not? And I'll be like, no, they haven't checked in. Or I'll be like, oh yes, they have. I just didn't finish doing that process.
Yep.
So somebody came in, I checked them in, but like halfway through I kind of stopped because I was doing something else. I can't remember what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I just was doing something else. And they were kind of sitting there for a while.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like thinking about like, in my mind, I'm like, I checked them in.
Yeah.
They're checked in. Nurse needs to come up and deal with it.
Yeah.
But the nurse had no idea because she didn't get a notification saying patient has checked in because I didn't finish my job.
Yeah.
I didn't finish my work.
Yep.
So the nurse didn't know.
Yeah.
So for all she knew, this patient just didn't show up.
Yep.
And like I didn't send IM saying like after a half hour, I started being like, okay, I need to just like message the nurse like she's been here for like half an hour now.
Mm-hmm.
Cause she like came up and she's like, is the doctor gonna see me today? I'm like, yeah. I'm surprised. So I IM'd the nurse and she's like, did you check her in? Cause she came out, she's like, did you check her in? I'm like, I did. And then I looked, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh,
like I didn't finish the process.
That moment is the worst.
So they had waited there for like 20 minutes, a half hour after their appointment was like scheduled for.
Oh.
So that fucked up their time, fucked up the doctor's time because he had more patients coming in that day.
Oh.
Like patients right after her. So he's like, I have to deal with this shit now.
Yeah.
And then the worst part was the doctor came up and talked to me afterwards. He's like, hey, so what was the deal with that? And I was like, I didn't make it. I'm like, look, I just fucked up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Like, it was just a mistake. He's like, yeah, you need to be on top of that more. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, it feels bad when you are the person at blame.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else you can really do.
Yeah.
That's kind of why like, you get
like
that
you have no barriers. Like, it's just like
there's
ultimately
there's no other way to like look at it and be like, oh, somebody else fucked up. I was just doing my job.
Yeah.
Or there was like just some sort of miscommunication, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, you fucked up. And I was kind of like, I just fucked up. Like,
but there's a learning experience in that too. Like,
yeah, like
sometimes it's constructive in a way because you like
right.
know like, oh, I gotta be really aware of this.
And
now.
again, like at the end of the day, like some people are gonna be affected. It really only affects people short term.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, because
if somebody doesn't get their sandwich,
yeah,
big fucking whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, yeah.
They wait another 20 minutes before they find out, like, before people are like, oh, this is where I had to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you lose business, in a way, sort of.
Oh, yeah, they're those people that you're just like...
You lose business, but, like, it's such a short-term thing.
Yeah.
If it's consistent, like, if you do it, like, 100 fucking times...
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
If you do it once...
Yeah.
It's something that you just own up to. You say, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I will try my best not to have it happen again.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it happen again, everybody learns, everybody wins, move on.
Yeah, we had those customers that were just like, oh shit. Well, either we messed up on on the order, or like, I remember one experience. It was like probably my worst customer experience at Jimmy John's, but I might have told you about it. But like, basically, the lady came in and her daughter, they ordered, and then like they got to the very end, they're like, oh yeah, no, that's not what I want. Instead, even though they had said at the register that's what they wanted. And then I don't think they knew that, like, what was in the sandwich.
Right.
And then once it was made, they're like, oh, no, I want a refund. And we're like, well, we already made the sandwich. We can't unmake the sandwich.
You guys don't have refunds for that, though?
No. Well, because the thing is...
I understand you made the sandwich, and I know, like, it's stupid to take back the sandwich, but I feel like...
because food is, I mean, anywhere. Food is an expendable item.
You've lost the money on the food at that point.
Yeah, basically.
So you can't just like rewrap it and then like give it to another customer.
Yeah,
right?
So it doesn't matter if they throw it away. It's just as long as they get their sandwich and they've paid for it is all that matters. And we can't unmake the food.
I am a little bit surprised though, because like even other places, like I'm sure they give you a refund if it. Oh, I guess McDonald's might be different. They usually have like just one-time things. Like Jimmy John's kind of like a customize yourself, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like.
But I feel like if you're not satisfied, usually they give you a refund. But I understand, like that's not your job.
Yeah,
that's not your responsibility to give them a refund if that's not the company
well, and I think like sometimes we actually would like let it slide. Like it'd be like, oh, like I messed up on this, like, you know, or like something that would be charged. Normally you just be like, oh shit, this person needs this. I'm not gonna charge it for it. I'm just gonna give them,
but that
like
at the end of the day,
like a cup or
that's
whatever.
not. Yeah, but like this is so. Continue the story. Sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
No, it's fine.
So she didn't get so she asked for the refund.
Yeah, she's like, oh, can I make my money back? And my manager came in. He's just like, well, you know, we already made the sandwich. We're not gonna unmake the sandwich because we can't take the ingredients and put it in another sandwich,
right?
Because that's cross contamination, and that's one thing. But two, like logistically, we already make enough sandwiches as it is. We can't take the time to like stop and like figure out all this shit right away. Like, generally speaking, if it's something that like we fucked up on, we're just gonna be like, okay, well, that's fine. We won't ring this up or whatever, and we'll give it to you. Like if it's like, oh, these tomatoes are bad or whatever, like something was wrong with the way the ingredients were. I think we do something like that. But if it's nothing. That was a situation where we didn't do anything wrong. It was just the customer didn't make up their mind and they want a refund. We're like, no, you asked for the sandwich. We clearly made it for you. And then you asked later on what was in the sandwich. And like, and
which is something that like, customer wise, you're like, well, you should have read it first.
Yeah.
And seen what was in it, or at least
it was their mistake. And it's like, and it's something where generally obviously in restaurants where the customer is usually always right, you got to treat it that way. But there's some of those specific situations where
I understand. Like in my opinion, I think like the way to just overthrow that is just throw away the sandwich and make a new one.
Yeah,
I think that's probably in her head like what you would have done.
Yeah,
but again, that's not on you.
Yeah, that's not on us. And in any normal circumstance, I think. But then again, it probably, we would tend to throw away a sandwich and not ring somebody up for another sandwich if, like, let's say the ingredients were bad or, like, we messed up on their order. We wouldn't charge them a sandwich for another sandwich because we fucked up on that. And that kind of goes into that category of, like, and generally if we're going to...
I think it's funnier that she asked for a refund versus just asking for a different sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't even ask for a different sandwich. She just asked for a refund.
Yeah, she just... asked for a refund.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I would imagine, like, if you got the wrong sandwich, you'd be like, oh, can I just get a different sandwich then? Yeah, that is, like, a waste of people's time if you make a sandwich and then you're like, I want a refund because it's like...
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, and then even if,
again,
like...
So, what was the end of that story?
Basically, they took the sandwich, they were angry, and they're like... And they basically badmouthed the place, like, audibly. They were like, oh, like... They're like, what kind of a place do you run here?
No,
you know, like
I've
that
had a few
shit.
of those people.
Like, like, I want to see your manager shit.
She saw the manager and he even told her, like, we're not gonna do anything for this.
Well, and then even if like they said, can we get another sandwich? Like, you have to have at least some, on all simplicity, you have to have at least some logical reason for us to say, okay, yeah, we'll make another sandwich for you. Like, if you order if everything's normal, you order a sandwich and you just say midway through us making the sandwich, you say, oh, like, I don't like this, can you get me another sandwich? Even then, a manager has every right to say, like, well, we're making this sandwich, this is what you ordered, this is what we're expecting out of the order, and if you don't like it, then get out.
Right.
Like,
well, but, also, like, she just knows not to go back there again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and again, how much was the fucking sandwich? Like, $5?
Generally, Jimmy John's is actually a little more expensive.
Oh.
Like,
well, I mean, like,
probably sandwich, chips, and drink, it's going to be like $11-12. Oh. But, like, the sandwich itself,
but
actually,
I mean, like,
you're right, it was like around $6 or $7.
Yeah, I just think, like, that, again, it is a purchase, but it's not like, it's food.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, just don't go back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's no skin off our teeth. It's
write a bad Yelp review. It'll have the same fucking effect.
Yeah, we already had, like, the worst review on Yelp in the entire area.
We have actually, like, our hospital Yelp reviews are pretty bad. I was surprised. I was like, I think we do, like, people seem pretty decent around here, but it seems like the people who don't like it are going to write a review versus the people who do like it. Because most people who do like stuff don't care to write a review. They're like, they'll just
go back. Yeah,
they'll just go back.
Write another.
And you know what? End of the day, still make money. So who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, like, yeah, you just get, like, sometimes you get shitty customers like that. We don't really. Again, our difference is it's not somebody who's hungry. It's somebody who's in pain.
Yeah.
And they just want to be. Most of them are literally just coming in like, I just don't want to be in pain anymore. Yeah. They aren't asking
and
there's
that frustration you have to deal with.
Right.
And they're like, it's kind of a reason for.
And again, like, ours is a little bit more complex. We have, like, a lot of fucking legal issues.
I imagine.
We have legal issues between companies and patients and, like insurance.
Well, then you've mentioned, like, information you can disclose or, like, give to other.
Like, again, there's just, like, there's a lot more complexity to it, and it's just like we are just frontline, so it feels like this shouldn't be, like, our responsibility, but, like, we are a part of the hospital and this is our job.
Yeah.
Again, so if it's our job, we just have to do it.
Yeah. It's hard to establish your boundaries to the customer because as the receptionist, it's already, like, in their mind inherently, like, you know everything. Like, you direct everybody to everything.
And that's why, like, now I have a completely different opinion about, like, other, like, if I get put on hold, like, 6 times, I'm like, I understand.
Yeah.
Companies are just kind of set up in shitty ways.
Yeah.
Because, like, new departments get added, new information gets out there, but not everybody's going to be caught up.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to do that with so many people.
Yep.
So, like, if I ever, like, call a company or something happens and I get put on hold, like, 4 times, I'm like, I totally get it. They probably don't know what the fuck is going on. And I know people are going to be like, they're going to respond and be like, well, that's a bad company, right? Like, they should know. I'm like, but when a company is so big, it is so difficult. Mm-hmm. You have, like, hundreds of employees, and, like, the information just can't be shared easily.
And there's so much of it, too.
Yeah. Like, that's why I have more. I think anybody out there really should. Like, I'm not saying that you should, like, you have to. But, like, if you want experience, do, like, a call center job. And just fucking tell me how that goes.
Yeah.
Like, just deal with customer service in any way.
I'm sure, like, after, like, at least a month, they're just like
after that, you have to gain some appreciation towards, like, what other people do.
Oh, yeah. That's actually how that mentality I have.
Like, if I go to a restaurant and they fuck up my order, I'm like, something just happened.
You know when you mentioned, because your mom said, like, if you're ever going to a sit-down place, always, like, tip them 25%.
Right.
And I'm like, every time you say, like, when you said that, I immediately was like, I am even getting, like, 25% of their fucking order. Like, I have a personal bias against sit-down restaurants compared to fast food. Because I personally think that, like, granted, you can maybe work equally as hard in fast food and sit-down restaurants, but you don't get nearly enough the amount of compensation.
When you work fast food?
You work fast food. Right. No, you don't. Like, because my brother's girlfriend, actually ex-girlfriend now, I haven't told you about that. They broke up, but they were together for 2 years.
I mean, like,
I think you saw it coming in a way.
After like how long they'd been separated, I'm just like, or how long they'd been apart, I'm like,
yeah, I'll tell you the logistics of it
it's
later.
Kind of like
but yeah,
my sister and her ex, although that's still
yeah,
that's
it was
so weird.
It was a little on the maturity line. Anyway, that's not the point.
Whatever.
So she worked basically a lot of the jobs she worked starting out were like sit down restaurant stuff, and I remember her telling me about working different places, and she worked at this one place over in a more well-to-do town, and it was this really high, like pretty high-end restaurant on near a body of water. Anyway, so but it's basically,
don't want to say the name or anything.
Yeah. Anyway, so she but she worked there, and like there are a lot of like mid to high end people that went there, and they tipped in a lot of fucking money. Right. And she said like my wage right now is like, I don't know, like $7.25, but on a good night I made upwards of like $300 to $400.
Yeah.
And like so a lot of it was in cash.
Well, all of it was like in change and cash. Really.
Yeah. And I'm like, I worked at Jimmy John's for fucking like 2.5 months. The only tips I ever made was like tips that drivers got, and like they got somebody tipped really big, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna give it to the in-shop worker that made this sandwich. So I got like $5 to $10.
Or when we worked at our dive shop place.
Oh yeah, that's right.
When we got tips, again, the tips were never good.
Yeah, but it was always nice.
For the job we did, I appreciate the tips.
We definitely, you guys definitely.
We got shafted so hard.
Oh my god,
But understandably, they're paying for a different service. Like it's not normal to think like when we have like a certain like this is how much you're paying. Mm-hmm. Like it's customary like restaurants, taxis, valets that you tip them. Mm. It's weird that we have like specifics for like what we tip and what we don't.
I'll tell you right now, like working as a painting contractor, when you say shafted, you don't even fucking know how shafted we got, because the amount of work I do now compared to, not saying like it's easy to be a paint subcontractor, right? But the amount of work that we did at that diving job comparative to the pay,
how much we got paid,
it was phenomenal. Like that. I'm not joking.
Are you saying it's better? You got better paid at the dive shop than you did at the paint place?
No, I got
saying the opposite.
I got better paid.
No, we got shafted.
Oh, we got fucking bad.
Shafted.
So fucking bad.
The amount of work we had to do, and the fact that you had to be certified.
Yep.
And the amount we got paid was bull.
Oh yeah, big time.
And again, I get it. You're being competitive, and for some people at that job, that was the best job they've ever had. Mm-hmm. For where I work now, the amount of work, I mean, I have to do like more mental labor. Yeah. Like I have to think more about what
stressful.
I do. It is more stressful by far, because at my old job I'd have to deal with people. But health wise, like just fucking, I don't have to worry about fucking drowning.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't have to get in the water and be like, if
it's
I fuck
freezing.
Up, I wasn't going through fucking hypothermia at my job.
Yeah.
Like the job I'm at now, I have to worry about fucking freezing to death.
Yeah. Oh my god. There's so many.
Again, I understand. Labor jobs tend to pay less. Totally understand. That's just how it is.
Well, but it depends. But that was a weird fucking job, because if it's skilled labor, they will pay more. It's like if they're not paying more, don't take that job. But if
But for some people, again, they had a certain clientele. They had a certain like employee age where it made sense for most people.
Yeah.
That's why I took the job, because I thought it was gonna be fun as hell. Scuba diving as a job, and it was in some ways.
Oh yeah, when I think back on it, yeah.
Some days, it was honestly still probably the best job I worked. Just working with the people I did.
Exactly. Yeah.
The work I did was horrendous.
Yeah.
There were some jobs.
It's fucking deserving micro dirty jobs.
There were some things we said no to because it was so bad. There was a place that was literally probably like a foot of sludge.
Did I work that with you?
Nope.
Oh,
you were already gone at that point.
I was already gone.
You were gone. This was when I was working after you had left.
Okay.
There was a place. It was a park. Mm-hmm. We went out and did one like go through.
Yeah.
Came back, made zero dent. We had a full bag's worth of just fucking sludge.
Yeah.
And we said
I hated
no.
That. Yeah.
Like we literally sat there and like contemplated for like a full like 5 minutes if we were going to do it again or not. And my like our manager was just like, no, we are done.
Yeah.
Like we were just like, even if it costs us our jobs, we are not doing this.
Yeah.
Because it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, I had one of those jobs. I think you were gone that day.
That day, yeah.
Yeah, but we had another muck job like that, and like
I've had some muck jobs. Honestly, some muck jobs were like they weren't fun,
but they weren't that bad.
But because if you had a muck job but you didn't have to dive,
yeah, that was fine.
You took it. You were like, all right, whatever. If you had a muck job, you had to dive.
Oh, it sucks.
Fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Being under the water with like just fucking sludge in your face and your hair.
Yeah.
God, I would have rather fucking just been farted on for 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
Than do that shit.
Oh god.
Fart my fucking face for 8 hours versus that. It was
just have
horrendous.
A fucking compressed fart can just in my eyes.
It was and that was one of my
and the hours too, dude.
Okay.
Oh, that shit.
That was a huge change between the 2 years. The first year I worked there, I was asking for hours.
Yeah.
Because I got off work at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
Like, and it's crazy too, because like, in hindsight, like when I first started that job, I think it was like my 3rd day. I was like, I'm going to quit.
Yep.
Because I had like one muck job. I had a bog job.
Yep.
I hated it. I had a bad manager. He was the one that everybody talked about as like the worst one we've ever had.
Yep.
He was the worst. And we were there for so long. And I did all the grunt work.
Oh, yep.
I did all the grunt work and I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to quit. Then I never had that manager ever again. I had him one more time after that, but I never had him for an extended period of time. I had another guy who some people
You're like iffy about.
Yeah, I was iffy about him because I was with him for so long. He like trusted me, so he's like, "All right, Garrick, you do the most difficult part of the job."
Yeah.
And I would do it, but then afterwards he was kind of like cool, and he's like he gave me a break on some things. Like if there was like hauling or stuff like that, he's like, Garrick, keep
doing this.
Keep doing this, and we'll bag up and go. And I was like, respect, man.
Yeah.
Respect the trust.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he was fine. Also, I could talk to him.
Yeah.
Like we had some actual conversation.
Oh yeah, there's a certain aspect of like familiarity and stuff with your
absolutely.
managers.
That was, like honestly, they're so lucky they had so many good people there.
Oh yeah.
You could have there were some managers that were shit.
Yep.
And you never wanted to work with them again.
Mm-hmm.
That was like 1 out of like 6. And the other 6 were the most fun people you've ever talked to.
Yeah. Oh man.
Like it was a fun environment until you actually had to work.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue for us is like we live in Minnesota. Water is fucking cold.
Oh yeah.
You were fine.
Oh well, yeah, cool. Because I knew beforehand. Because I knew that when they gave us time to pick out our wetsuits, and I knew that if I went on the small side, even though it'd be harder to get into, I knew that if it's skin tight, then it preserves body heat.
Yeah, no,
you're like, no, I'll be fine. I already have my suit from last year or whatever.
No, it wasn't that.
Or you just, that's right. You picked out one from like the pile.
I had a fucking good suit and somebody took it.
Yeah.
I had a good suit. Somebody took it. And I was like, fuck.
Fuck you.
Because here's the thing. Like we had like hangers, but if you didn't have your name on it or anything, people were like, fucking.
I'm going to take this.
Yeah, we're going to take it. If you didn't have your name on it and you weren't like defending that shit or hiding it, people were going to fucking take it. So I had a good suit at first, got taken. I had to get a new suit, and the new suits were all shit because they're old suits. I think in the history of that place, they only ever bought new suits like once or twice. They bought new booties all the time. Mm-hmm. Also, the new like work boots were shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, but nothing compares to the regs. Like
no, regs were
horrendous.
Yeah, I didn't like them either.
Remember
our equipment was really poor.
Yeah,
but it's understandable because it makes sense, honestly, because trying to buy like really expensive equipment for people that aren't gonna care for it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
Like they complained about it. If you gave them really good equipment, they were gonna trash it within like a month, and that was like way more money down the drain. Honestly.
Yeah, they really should have invested.
The people that cared bought their own shit.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful that out of all the gear I
bought my own booties and gloves, and I loved that.
Yeah.
Having those things as my own was perfect because they were leagues better than what we had.
The booties particularly.
Absolutely.
That was definitely even though you did have a little bit of trouble.
I had issues
with
because
muck jobs was a big one.
Just the muck jobs.
Yeah.
Because they weren't built for that. But I wasn't going to put on my fucking...
Those things
workshoes. Throw them in the trash, burn them. I didn't give a shit.
It's funny because I
honestly would rather go barefoot than do that shit.
Oh my God. I remember... Like, the only thing, by the end of the day, I had to complain about with my gear...
Right.
Well, I did have some bad things, but was like, I had my my pants I was wearing, I forgot the name, but the overalls, yeah. The knees on my overalls, I got worn out, and, like, at the end of the day, I would have, like, bloody knees.
You have no idea. Mine... You saw mine.
No, but I both of my knees wore out super bad. By the end of the season,
mine were too.
Yeah,
and I was so because their solution was like fucking weld some like plastic or shit on top of it. And it made it like just worse because it was harder.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you. Oh, I think you probably know the pain though.
Yeah, but let me just explain for like the people were probably wondering like what the boot issue is.
Oh yeah.
So we had like these construction worker boots.
They're basically like military boots.
Right. We had like military boots that they bought because people kind of complained about the booties for a while. They were like, booties fall apart way too fast. We need something better.
Yeah.
So they got like these military boots that could go underwater.
Yeah.
They were worse. Because here's the thing with booties that were nice. Booties are basically like diver shoes that you just slip on and you zip on.
Yep.
And there are issues with that. Like they would easily fall off. They fell apart way faster. The military shoes, they were a lot more durable, lasted longer. But the issues being is that if you got shit inside your shoe, which happened all the fucking time, it was so difficult to take them off.
Yep.
Like, because they get waterlogged.
Yep.
And then, like, when you try to take them off or put them back on the next day,
they're so tight.
Such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
They were super uncomfortable. Took forever to take on and off. So if you went to a job, because like when you're done with your job, the nicest thing ever is to take off your shoes and just like go barefoot on the drive next there. Like you just have so much freedom then.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't do that with these shoes.
Yep.
Because if you took them off, they were not coming back on.
Yep. Yeah.
No way in hell. They were just not designed for that type of work. So I decided to say fuck that, and I never wore them. So I had booties, and they worked totally fine like 80% of the time.
Yep.
The 20% of the time where we had like muck jobs or bog jobs, which is basically like the sediment is super like how would you describe it?
It was basically like mud.
It's just mud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not sand. You don't get a lot of sand in Minnesota.
No.
Like lakes. You don't get sand.
No, those were nice jobs too. Sand jobs. Were nice.
because plants just don't go back when there's sand on top of them. Also, don't put sand in your lake. It's not natural and it fucks with the environment. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Also, don't pull out cattails. It's actually illegal.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Well, yeah, you need. Well, actually, it's illegal to do. The flower itself is the illegal part.
Right. You can't cut into the bog. That's illegal too.
Oh, really? You
can't cut. You can't cut into any. What is the word I'm thinking of?
Protected.
What's the like water?
Oh, wetland.
Wetland.
Yeah. Because the DNR is heavily protects.
You can't cut into a wetland. You can't do anything like that. And you also can't cut into cattails. Yep. Like you can't like remove them by the root. That's also illegal.
We didn't do any cattail work really.
They tried to make us do that.
Yeah. You can't do it.
There were places where they're like, can you remove this? And we're like, no.
No.
That's first off, it's against the law. Although our job didn't seem to really care about that, honestly, because we had plenty of things that were like probably not DNR safe, but also the DNR doesn't care enough to like look at our job probably.
Yeah. My mom. Well, I told that to my mom, and like right away she's like, "Oh, that's fucking illegal." Like,
right.
Well, because we live on a wetland and she protects it.
Right.
She's protected it for many years, and she's been fighting for it.
To be fair, a lot of times we just said no, we can't do that.
Yep. Yeah.
Although they probably sold it as though we could, we told them like as a crew we weren't gonna do that.
Yeah.
So we're doing the company's job for them and making sure they're not getting arrested for that shit.
Yeah.
Although, probably wouldn't get arrested. Probably just pay like a fine.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you just.
And it probably wouldn't even be
like
that much.
Civil,
to be honest.
Yeah, it's a civil thing.
But anyway, what was I talking about?
Yeah,
it's basically just like mud. Like most Minnesota lakes don't have sand, or actually
not. Yeah, most Minnesota
sand.
lakes aren't clear.
They aren't clear. If you ever find if there's a lake like Lake Minnetonka that is clear, it's because there's zebra mussels, your invasive species.
I was gonna say the worst pain I probably felt on the job there was skinning my knees on a zebra covered rock. Right. That hurt so fucking much.
Yeah. Also, that's just not fun being underwater with that shit too.
Yeah.
The worst pain I felt. I'm trying to think. I think I cut my hand on a glass bottle, I think.
Really?
Right.
Oh, hitting your head on a dock brace. That sucked.
Oh, fuck that.
Oh, that hurt so bad. Oh, fucking.
The moment you said that, actually, no. Worst pain I felt was when I almost exploded my lungs.
Yep. Yeah. No. Yeah. Nothing can.
That was. All right. So if you don't know, when you're scuba diving, the idea is that you want to constantly be breathing, because what happens is if you hold your breath.
When you're constantly breathing when you're ascending, or you're changing in depth, whatever.
If you're changing depth at all.
Yep.
Because it's just safer that way, even if you're descending.
Yep.
Because if you hold your breath underwater, so if you take a breath in underwater and you ascend, your lungs will expand.
Yep.
And if you keep holding your breath, they're going to expand until they pop.
Yeah, it's basically lung hyperextension.
Yes, exactly. So I did that on a small scale when we were at a lake, because what you do, we did not have BCDs, which if you don't know what that is, they're basically inflatable vests that you wear when you scuba dive so you can control your buoyancy.
Yep.
We didn't have that. All we had were wetsuits and weight belts and a backpack that held our tank. Yeah. So you would just sink to the bottom and you were staying there. You were not ascending unless you...
We were negatively weighted, yeah.
Yeah. So you would have to basically like jump up. So
which in diving terms is already a big no-no for safety.
You don't really want... Again, for the most part, we were in such shallow areas, it didn't make a difference really.
Yeah, but I mean,
most,
after
like,
a while...
Usually at most you're like 10 feet underwater.
Yeah, but it still doesn't matter because like
it's not safe.
You get headaches and it fucks with your ears. People got infections.
It's not great. Yeah, people got ear infections all the time, and people got sick all the time.
Yeah.
So we were at a place that was significantly deeper than that, and I was not really thinking. So again, you don't know. So the idea is like you go out. You go straight, you pick, because the job was to pick weeds out of lakes. Yep. You go straight, you pick weeds. Thing is, when you're underwater, you don't know what the fuck straight is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no.
You
have no sense of orientation.
No, you have no
Unless
idea.
you're working really closely to the dock, you have no sense of orientation.
Yeah, even then, because like,
you can't
your
see
vision
that
is
clearly.
distorted.
Yeah.
Even if it's clear water, your vision gets distorted because goggles are not like...
Yeah.
You don't see perfectly well with goggles, so like, what looks close to you is actually like a foot away.
Yeah. I remember the first time I dove on that job, like, because I didn't get to dive the first day because my gear, I didn't have my rag. No, what was it?
Your weight belt?
No, not my weight belt. It was something to do with my regulator.
Your hose? What is that called? That's the regulator.
Yep. Yeah. Something was going wrong with it.
I think your reg was broken.
Yep. Yeah. It was
just
something
broken,
like that.
Something like that. Yeah. So you didn't die. But so what were you gonna say?
So basically, what was I gonna say? God damn it, Garrick. What was I talking before? Oh yeah. The first time I dove on that job, I was genuinely scared. Like I remember our manager at the time that was with us, and you played it like, oh, this is so cool. Like this is cool. Like I've done this plenty of times. I did it, and I'm like, how do these people know where they're going? And most of the time, you guys genuinely didn't know, but you had an estimate.
You always had like an idea of where you were, like just estimate general. You just kind of figured out where you were. Or what we try to do is like we try to stay as close to each other as possible.
Yep.
But that's the thing, like especially if you're on the end, if one person goes out of whack, everybody goes out of whack.
I think that job was actually especially bad because most of the time it was bad visibility, but not super bad. The first time I dove, it was a muck job, and we were down in it, and like I couldn't see an inch in front of my face. It was just straight up blackness.
Honestly, like the first time I ever dove, it was rough for me because I wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
Like again, before that, you're normally like going in a pool or if you've gone scuba diving, you mostly gone like in the ocean where it's open and visible and you can see.
Yeah.
When you go in a Minnesota lake, you have very little visibility and just like you don't know where you are.
Like if you're going to scuba dive in Minnesota, the best places to go are either lakes that are highly recommended for their visibility or like rock quarries. Like that's going to be basically
like Minnetonka is pretty clear for like in
some parts of it.
Some parts are mucky as hell, but like there are plenty of places in Minnetonka. Like even look, it's not visible. But it's so much more clear than like any other place.
Oh yeah.
Like even if you can only see like 2 feet in front of you, so much better than most places where you don't even see an inch.
Yeah.
It's either pitch black, which some jobs were.
Yeah.
And that was the most terrifying.
Yeah.
Not be like I still kind of have like dreams like where I am still there.
Yeah.
And remember like just the idea that I might get bit by like a snapping turtle or something that freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Some people got bit by not northerns. They got bit by like what's the other fish with teeth? Walleye?
Well, not walleye. Fuck. What is it? Muskie.
Muskie. Yep. Some people got bit by muskies for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Which it's not gonna kill you.
Yeah.
But it can hurt.
Yep.
And you don't want that.
What was the other the bullfish or whatever it was?
Bullfish will bite you, but they don't have like super short bullheads.
Bullheads is what it was.
But they don't have like they aren't gonna.
They had barbs, but they didn't.
Oh right, that's true. They did have barbs.
They're kind of like catfish in that sense.
Right. Yeah, they'll sting you, but they
I didn't ever had really any problem.
One did like come up under me. Like that was the scariest time. Like where just something black was coming right at my face because it was under the muck.
Yeah, it burrowed it.
Yeah, so it just kind of like came up right at me. I was like, what the fuck?
I think the only encounter I had was like we were just looking at it from above water, but it was the fucking massive ass snapping turtle that came from the water. Remember that?
It was Godzilla.
That was so funny.
That was fucking Gamera right there.
It was funny. It was
scary. It was a living fucking.
It was like a dinosaur, like straight up.
The diameter of like. I don't.
Oh, it was a Thanksgiving platter. Like that's how big it was.
Exactly.
Like it was a big ass turtle.
Yeah, that was a turtle, and like that's one of those things where you're like, again, I know snapping turtles don't tend to like bite people in the water.
Yeah.
You still don't want to like swim with that thing.
There's always that afterthought. Like,
it's always like you swim with sharks. It's like they don't really bite. They don't tend to attack you underwater.
But you're like, what?
But you still don't want to swim like right next to a fucking shark.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man,
I like how we're comparing a snapping turtle to a shark.
Yeah. Oh man,
they're just as terrifying, to be honest. When you're in the water with them, they are just as terrifying.
Yeah.
Because you have, unlike them, you don't have as much control.
Yeah, it's the uncertainty of it.
You can't like fucking swim away as fast as they could.
But I also like I've read up a lot about sharks. Well, not a lot, but like I've seen a lot of videos of people. I'm shark expert. Anyway, but no, they say like most of the time when sharks get near you, they're pretty curious. They're really curious creatures.
There are shark attacks. They do happen.
Yeah, but it's mostly out of confusion. They don't happen
very often.
It's generally out of confusion.
They think you're something else, and when they bite you, they usually don't. Usually they bite you and they realize this isn't what I want, and they let you go. And they go away. Difference is when a shark bites you, it can kill you.
Yeah, exactly. But like they're not gonna come back for another.
Usually. Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do. There is that fucking horrible story about the Australian that got attacked by 2 sharks.
Ooh.
2 great whites.
I haven't heard about
same
this.
time.
Ooh.
He was surfing and 2 great white sharks just decided we're gonna eat this fucker.
Yeah.
And it does happen.
Sometimes he died, did he?
Yep, he died.
Okay. I would imagine. Very quickly he died.
And and his friends were just like, what the fuck can we do?
Yeah, like you got to get out of there for safety even. Like
even if you decide to go out there, what the fuck are you going to do against 2 great white sharks?
Yeah.
Like it's just super rare to have one attack you. It's rarer to have one that wants to just eat you.
Yeah, it's actually
and then even rarer on top of that, the 2 of them decide to do it at the same time.
So this guy was fucking
he was dead.
Bad day.
Oh, I can't. It's so terrible.
Oh,
it's awful. But I mean,
guess what, Garrick? We're about to hit 3 hours.
Yeah, I think we should probably wrap this up. To be honest,
4, 3, 2, 1, bang.
Did you plan to record anything else tonight?
Not really. I don't know. I figured we were gonna do podcasts, but not 3 hours long.
Oh yeah, I was like.
I think I mentioned I was really hungry like 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, I remember like we hit the 1 hour mark and we were like, oh, we'll just keep going for a bit.
Yeah.
I thought we would be done
2 hours.
After I did the Ghostbuster trailer, I was like, we have nothing left to talk about on the thing.
Nope.
Apparently, we had a lot more to talk about, but it's nice. Anyways, we actually have content now.
Yeah. There you go.
So I think we're gonna wrap it up now.
Yeah. We gotta eat people.
Aaron, that was a secret.
We're gonna eat. We're cannibals, actually. Aaron.
Get in my belly.
Get in my belly.
All right. So thank you guys for listening or watching or whatever the fuck you're doing. I don't know. I'm sorry this was so long, but you know what? If this is like our first podcast episode,
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, sure. It was actually good.
Yeah.
Not good. It was adequate. There was things to talk about. I think we got better as time went on.
Yeah, we did. It definitely aged. It aged properly.
It's like fine cheese.
Fine cheese.
It ferments.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Tell us if our mics sound like ass.
Yeah, please.
I need to know.
Yep. And we've been putting out bullshit for basically 3 hours and you didn't care.
We've been putting, if you think our...
Is this going to be like a study podcast where like people don't give a shit about what we're saying? It's just white noise to them?
It might. Yeah. Honestly, with how long it is, I wouldn't be surprised. It is one of those things. We're not going to get into it. We're done.
Fuck it. Yeah.
We're done.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.